Oh, yeah. It hits me every time. Every single time. I get so excited when I hear the intro to Ben and Woods. I think it's best in the business. I don't say that lightly either. Welcome in, everybody. Let's get our heads right on a Wednesday. That definitely feels like a Thursday for sure. Been a long week, certainly. Bit of a slow week, but we will persevere because we've got you guys, the best audience on the radio, on YouTube. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it. I'm Woodsy. To my right is Paul Reindl. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
Paulie's the executive producer of the program. He's always very color-coded and looks sharp on the feed. Looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's always matching. Then we've got Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, who, like me, we kind of get dressed in the dark. I wear the same thing every day.
Matching? I mean, what am I not matching? Where's the non-match? I've got a blue shirt on.
We both, I'll say
dark
this.
blue pants.
We both look more slovenly than Paulie does.
I mean, he always has a cool hat and cool shoes on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't wear a hat usually, and
Thank
you
God,
don't see
right?
anybody's shoes on our feed.
He told me yesterday, Paulie, walking out of the building.
Yeah.
He and I, in a very private moment, he said, just so you know, you've really gotten in my head with this hat thing, and you've really shamed me about the way that,
one of our
in hats.
Sales execs yesterday brought us a couple of hats.
Yes.
And, try them on. And I put mine on, and I goes, nah, it doesn't look good on you. I go, you always say that. Every time I put a hat on, it doesn't look right on my head. What am I supposed to do? There's nothing I can do about my head. I can't change the shape of my head. We've tried all different kinds of hats, bigger hats, smaller hats. And every time you say that doesn't look right.
How about one of those ones that sits on your head and it's got a helicopter on top? We do one of those. How about the How about the helmet with the two beer can things on the side? I'm trying all options here. He put it on and he looked at me and he gave me like this face, like yeah? And I'm like, no. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to help. It's not. Would you rather
come up with a solution than just constant criticism?
Would you rather me lie to you and say, no, it looks good?
I don't need you to lie to me, but you could just say nothing. You could just say nothing.
But if I say nothing...
What would you say to Hannah if she put a hat on and you thought...
Oh, ask her. Babe, are you kidding? This woman, are you kidding me? Over the last... When I met her 11 years ago yesterday, when I met her, she was every day, Ben, 100%, 365. Black yoga pants, black top. Tank top, the black top to cover it. Lately, the last year or so, she's really been exploring her fashion sense. And there's some weird baggy pants, and then there's like some weird yoga pants that actually look like jeans that she wore the other day. There's this awful jean jacket that she has that she shows up in. And I'm like, I'm not going. I'm not. I can't go.
This awful jean jacket.
It's horrible. It's a horrible. It's like oversized. I'm like, well, you look like you found it in a dumpster. Like, what's going on? But she's trying new stuff, and I do applaud that. She's really branched out her shoe game. She branched out. Hats by Hannah. She started making those hats in the garage. So
something else I can't wear. Thanks.
Correct. So I appreciate the effort, but you asked me, would I tell her? The answer is unequivocally yes. And by the way, she would tell me. If I showed up in parachute pants and was like, I'm rocking these, she'd be like, absolutely not, idiot.
All right, first of all, it's possible that you're not the world's be-all, end-all arbiter of style for everybody. So your opinion could be wrong here.
Well, but I know you're not the arbiter of style. That's one thing I do know.
I acknowledge that, and I do acknowledge that. Secondly, I've never really solved the dilemma of the how do I look question. Like, how does this look? Because I get that at home. There'll be like two different tops or two different jackets. Which one looks better? Which shoes should I wear?
Right.
And I never really know the answer. I feel like I've gotten in trouble many times just for Like I don't love that one. Like, why not? Like, what's wrong with it? I don't really know the answer. I don't know why. It's just my personal feeling. Like, I have a preference.
Sure, there's a preference.
But there's a wrong answer to the question. Like, which one looks better on me? And I give an honest opinion, and somehow I get it wrong.
She came out, it was actually yesterday. She opened up a package, and she said, what do you think of this color on me? And it was red. And I go, She goes, do you like the design? I go, I do. I like the design on it. I said, but you don't wear red. You don't wear red. And she goes, yeah, you're right. But she goes, I got the same design in black. I go, now we're talking. now we are talking. So I don't think there's anything wrong with expressing myself. Now, you gave me the look of like, and what do you think? And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't look great on you. What do you want me to say? Do you want me to lie? After almost 8 years together, you want me to lie to you?
No, I just feel like I just can't ask anymore. But then again, I've been married almost a quarter of a century, and I still get asked, even though I don't know that my response has any value. It's simply a trick question designed to get me in trouble.
That's fair. But we do need to find a style of hat that works for you. And I don't know what it is yet. A derby cap, maybe. Like the Payne Stewart. That could be your new look when you play golf. It'd look pretty sharp, I think. I told him, I'll spend a Saturday with you. We'll go to the mall. We'll go to 10 different places till we find one that looks cool. But these ones that are like so tight on your head and they're just, you know what I'm saying? You've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
But all hats are fairly tight on my head because I have a big head.
Yeah, but other guys have big heads and they look fine in hats.
I know what the problem is.
What is it? You're like the hat expert, so you weigh in here, please.
Every hat he owns was a promotional hat that was given to him for free.
You actually have to go out and spend some time and your own money.
They're not meant, like, promotional free marketing hats are not meant to look stylish and
It's
good.
true. We need to do a hat day. Just
Think about it. Any hat you've ever seen him in.
It's a landscaping company. Yeah, the landscaping company.
That's the one that actually looks decent on
It's a Padres hat that was a giveaway.
Yeah,
it's
the giveaway hat.
Kangle that we gave you to wear on Fridays. As a bit.
Well,
It's a golf hat that some golf company gave you.
Yes, that's true. When's the last time you purchased a hat with your own?
I've never purchased
a hat. They're all freebies. That's why.
We figured it out.
All right, so
I wouldn't know what to purchase.
Well,
That's
we'll
the
go
thing.
on a
Why
hat
would
day.
I purchase a hat that looks bad on my head? And since we've already determined that every hat I've ever put on my head,
You want to try this?
Let's try that on.
Try this
okay,
out.
so this is a real, genuine,
it's a hat.
non-freebie giveaway hat.
Never seen anything like it, man. I don't know what it is, Paulie. I've never seen anything like it.
I just look dorky. I mean, I do.
So I told him, I said, take the
Take the
glasses
glasses
off.
off.
So now look with the glasses off. He looks better.
Better.
It's what I said.
Better.
So it's not the hat. I can't wear glasses anymore?
Watch, try some contacts. Try backwards. This will be.
Oh, wow.
That's not that bad. I'm telling you right now.
I've seen a lot worse.
I've seen a lot worse. Backwards hat. If he started rocking. Hannah wants to know if you have a crooked face. I don't think so. You're pretty symmetrical.
But the point of the hat is to keep the sun out of your eyes.
I know it is.
Why would I wear a hat backwards?
I know it is.
Does no good for me.
I know it is. Dr. Cole Klaus says, Woodsy, you're the ultimate wingman. I think I am. I think this is what nobody needs a yes man for a wingman. Yeah, you look great. Nobody needs that. You need somebody to tell you it looks fine, but we can do better. So we'll do a hat day. Maybe when we go to spring training, we always got some time to kill.
Yep.
We'll go on and we'll do full content, and we'll have you try. It'll be like the scene in European Vacation where they steal that money and they go out and shopping.
Going to the mall up there on Bell Avenue.
And we went to one in Scottsdale, Benny, Paulie and I did, to go to Dick's, and it's like it's like a carnival. I mean, every store you could imagine in there. So we'll do a full Pretty Woman hat day. Paulie and I will sit in our chair. You walk out, spin, and we'll go, no, that's not it.
Create a montage
Yeah,
later.
do a montage
Set
on
it to
TikTok.
some music.
100%. That is going to happen. We'll do a hat day for sure. Travis says, get him a melon hat. We got him one.
Yeah.
It
doesn't think that one works either.
It looks okay. It's got this cone on the top. The cone is what bugs me.
But doesn't all the other don't your hats have the cone?
This is a good idea. Has been considered a Tricom Paul Revere hat. The red coats are coming. The red coats are coming. Abraham Lincoln stovepipe hat. We'll mix it up. We'll find something.
Well, at least he had glasses, so maybe
Yeah,
that's
maybe
a
that's
good
what you
look
need.
with glasses.
Oh, tinfoil hat. Yeah, maybe that.
Not a conspiracy
He's
theorist.
not a big conspiracy guy. Well, anyway, you asked me. I told you. Now you're mad at me that I told you. I don't know what to do here anymore. Okay?
All right, let's take our first time out.
What about
we'll
a
come back.
do-rag? If that's what he went with, it'd be the greatest thing of all time. All right, we'll take a time out.
We earlier I said we had more of a charcuterie plate on the menu.
That was yesterday.
It's kind of a vegetable tray. Why is there nothing going on? Super Bowl week
It is dead, man.
is actually kind of one of the worst weeks in sports in ways. Now,
is
yeah,
dead.
the NBA has made some headlines, and we've talked about that, but we're just waiting for the game and spring training to start now. We're 1 week away. 1 week from today, I believe, pitchers and catchers report to Peoria, Arizona. So,
We will have spring training Sammy join us 1 week from today.
which is
Cannot-
fantastic.
cannot wait.
But we got to get there first.
We'll get it.
We're
We'll be
on
all
our
right.
way. It's Ben, Woods, Paul. Kelly's got traffic and off and running here on a Wednesday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Suggestions in the chat, Ben. A mini pearl hat with the tag hanging from it. It's a reference for you if you're like 50. You'll get it. If not,
Maybe
70. If not, you don't know who Mini Pearl is. I did see a Davy Crockett hat. It looked cool. Just
coon skin.
The raccoon with the tail.
Raccoon skin
It
hat.
looked pretty cool. I mean, you'd be fashion forward. Nobody else is doing it. If that's important to you, and I don't think it is.
I believe there was, remember the radio host in L.A., Vic the Brick?
No, I know JT the Brick.
No,
he always threatens to fight me
Vic
once
the
a year.
Brick, and he used to wear, I don't know if it was some sort of fur hat, but I think it was more of like that Russian fur hat everywhere he went. That was his thing.
I hate radio people so much. I can't even stand the sight of myself.
Yeah, the problem is I believe that 100%.
Oh, yeah,
I
no
can
doubt.
Picture it without even knowing it.
There is no question. Vic the Brick. I gotta find
Vic the Brick
Jenkins. Gotta find his.
Oh no!
His Russian hat.
The Azul.
Was he a sports
Oh,
guy?
yeah, sports guy. Yeah, covered the Dodgers. Called him the Azul.
The Azul.
Yeah, he talked like that. Vic the Brick.
Oh my God!
Is he wearing?
He's in a full fur stole, just begging for attention. What about the thing that Will Smith's kid wore the other night? The big house,
The castle?
the big castle on your head.
Oh yeah.
Look good, subtle. I don't think you can get your headphones over it, but this guy's a full
I
bit
could wear
master.
the Chapel Roan pointed princess cap.
This is amazing. Vic the Brick. I've never heard of him.
Never heard of Vic the Brick?
Why
Oh.
is everyone called the Brick? What does that mean? JT the Brick.
Woods the Brick.
Steve the Brick
Well,
Woods.
Romy, I think, invented that when he called someone from New York a brick.
Like you're
the
dumb
Knicks,
as a
the
box
bricks,
of- okay.
you're from New York,
That doesn't make any
So
sense.
I think that was a New Yorker expression.
I think I'd like this guy, though. It's the journey of a maverick sportscaster. He had a tight relationship with Kobe Bryant.
He did.
Yeah.
He actually did.
35 years.
You wouldn't last 30 seconds listening to him.
Oh, is that bad?
unfortunately. Well, the content's not, but I think his vocal delivery would irritate you. Would be my guess.
Then again, I'm easily irritated. So.
I'm factoring that in.
Okay, you put that into the experiment, the equation.
I've cooked that into the recipe. What's his ease at getting irritated? It's definitely taken into consideration here.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. I've pretty much heard of most of the legends of radio, and I've never heard this guy's name.
Yeah, covered Lakers, Dodgers, still on, I believe, in somewhere.
He
up
does
in Los
Dodger
Angeles.
poems. Marissa says he's a huge Dodger guy. He's really annoying. All right. Vic the Brick, ultra pukey on air. I don't like pukers,
Right.
as you know. All right. Well, I'll do a little research on that. Maybe a little Vic the Brick rabbit hole.
Well, speaking of that, it is a Rabbit Hole Wednesday. We haven't done one in a long time, but we had some questions yesterday.
How did we get into that?
When we were talking about cricket.
Yeah, but how did we get into it? How did we get into cricket?
Well, we
I don't
were.
either.
It was
We looked up the guy.
It
that
was
had
the guy who had the
longest at bat.
longest cricket at bat in
But
history.
why? Why did we even bring that up? I don't remember.
That's a good question.
I have no
don't know how we got
recollection.
there, but we all agreed cricket is actually an incredibly popular sport in certain areas of the world.
It's the second most watched sport on the planet behind soccer. This
Yet-
is some of my knowledge I gleaned.
Yet in this country, it remains one of the most impenetrable mysteries out there. I mean, we're talking JFK assassination.
Oh, yeah.
Cricket.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we just don't get it. And I'm a sports guy. I pride myself in being able to understand rules, intricacies of sports, even
Yeah.
ones that I don't follow that closely. I can't get cricket.
Did you watch the video I sent you?
I have not watched the video yet.
It's done by a local news team up in Long Island. And it's maybe the biggest campy turd you've ever seen by the guy that does it. But it is pretty fantastic in explaining the rules. And I'll tell you this right now, man. I did the rabbit hole on cricket. I feel like I know less now after studying it for an hour and a half last night. I feel like I know less than I did yesterday. It was crazy.
Yeah, Orthodox Evans reminds us we were talking about in the Reindl Report
Australia.
the NFL going to
Yep.
Australia
That's right.
and going to play at the cricket grounds in Melbourne, which is like a 90,000 seat stadium.
Yeah.
Which all kind of Florida. It's like you get 90,000 people to go watch cricket, and then they'll sit there all day, sometimes for days, because cricket can be extremely long. But you're going to try to at least unravel some of the mystery for us.
And I got to tell you,
this morning,
once I started learning a little bit about it, I went, "Ooh, that's kind of cool how they do this." And then I read up on some of the legends of the game, and my mind exploded. Like, there's some really cool little fun facts I got for you guys, and I could try to explain it as best I can. It's funny, I'm leaving after the show today. I'm going to Taylor School it's sports week. So I'm doing my annual teach the kids how to play baseball bit in the lawn. So I got gloves and bats and balls and teach them how to hit and everything else. I think people from other countries come over and they see baseball and they're fascinated by it, certainly. But cricket, man, is a totally different ball game, man. Totally different and pretty fascinating stuff.
We'll get into that, a little rabbit hole around 7:35 this morning.
We had a call just now from Tier 1 Dennis who wanted to set the record straight. He said, "Hey, I grew up listening to Jim Rome back in the early 90s when I was at San Diego State. The brick thing, it wasn't because of New Yorkers and being dumb or acting dumb or anything like that. It was about the Knicks constantly throwing up bricks."
Oh.
Yeah.
And then JT the Brick, I guess, like, one of his bits was he would like throw bricks at TV screens or something.
Okay, I didn't
Get
know that
angry.
part.
So JT the Brick.
Yeah, I
Is
knew
he
there
would
was
get mad and throw bricks?
I knew there was a connection with the Knicks and throwing up bricks,
Knicks
but I
and
wasn't
bricks
exactly
and
sure how he
chicks.
got from A to B.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Dennis, for calling in and setting the record straight there.
Call me Woodsy the Error. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. Sports radio guys, man.
We had the reaction yesterday to the giant trade in the NBA over the weekend. Luka Doncic introduced by the Lakers with Rob Pelinka. LeBron had some comments yesterday. We can hear a little bit of Luka like seemingly being stunned still that he was traded from the Dallas Mavericks. Hard to believe it. Anthony Davis is now in Dallas. Neither played last night, but Luka could make his debut as soon as Saturday now. They're saying he's going to practice today and could be on the court when the Lakers take on the Pacers on Saturday. So we'll have more on the NBA trade. But then in our 8 o'clock hour, we definitely wanted to start at least doing a little deeper dive on the Super Bowl participants. So we'll talk about the Philadelphia Eagles with our friend Jon Marks from Philadelphia. He's always been one of our favorite Philly guys, and he's following the season and the team closely. I've got the Eagles in the game this week. We'll see if John agrees with my sentiment or if he thinks the Chiefs are going to be, ultimately frustrating them again like they did 2 Super Bowls ago.
I'll tell you
when
what,
they match up on Sunday.
I freaking love Jon Marks. I love Jon Marks. I love when we have him on the air. The only Philly guy I want to talk to is Jon Marks.
You want the temperature of
Yes.
the Philadelphia sports landscape.
Dude,
he's the guy.
He is such a great guy. And after they won and they advanced the Super Bowl, man after my own heart was just unloading receipts on Twitter. It was like 2 hours of entertainment. It was so much fun. I love Jon Marks. You guys will like him too if you haven't heard him.
And we'll have all of our regular features, including Don't Do This, Take on Woods, the Reindl Report, and don't forget, we got another name in our biggest fan contest at 9 a.m. Your chance to qualify for the night in the Odyssey Suite at a Padres game with 20 tickets for an upcoming game this season. So that's what's on the menu for a Wednesday here with Ben and Woods. We'll get into some more Padres talk. Obviously, no moves yesterday either. Just kind of still biding our time, waiting for AJ to do whatever he thinks he's going to be doing here before the season starts.
You know those things that they have in offices sometimes? It's a rack, and it's got like 6 balls hanging from it, and you click one.
Yeah.
I just picture him in his office at Petco, at his desk, just waiting for the text from someone.
And if you do 2 balls, then it knocks 2 balls the other way.
I just picture him in his office with almost with his feet up going, whenever you guys are ready, I'm ready to get after this.
Is that better than the...
He's like, I've got some ideas.
I got ideas.
Then the bird slowly tips, and then when it hits
the
nose,
water.
hits the water, it flips back.
It is.
Over
The
again.
bird thing's pretty cool, but the thing would drive me crazy after a while. The click, 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 click. But I just picture him in his office, like moving stuff around, playing solitaire on his computer. working the phones, but like people are calling him going, "Hey, we want this. Let's go." And he's like, I'm waiting. I haven't gotten the go ahead. Other than Elias Diaz and getting the Michael King thing done. It's been morbidly slow for AD, and I know that's not the pace he likes to work.
Did have some moves in MLB elsewhere yesterday, nothing earth-shattering. We get into those as well coming up next. First, though,
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE000466.
That's right. 7 Mile back with us again here in 2025. It's our card room in San Diego. It is such a great place. It's not just the closest card room to downtown. It's 7 minutes away. It's pretty much the closest no matter where you are in San Diego because all the other ones are way out in the East County for the most part if you want to play cards. I just love it because it's the best card room. It really is comfortable and a fun spot to go and spend, just a couple hours playing cards, hanging out, whatever. Great place to bring friends as well. I love 7 Mile Casino.
It's got a great, it's fancy. You like it. There's a fancy aspect to it, and it's cool. I love the big pictures of the Rat Pack on the wall. Like it's just a cool place to go sit down and play some California style blackjack. And of course, you're going to get great service. You're going to get great food. It's not a secret. They want you to come. They want you to enjoy yourself. And guess what else they want? They want you to come back. So they're going to take great care of you when you go. They always take great care of us. Took really great care of all the Tier 1s that showed up last year for the Korea game. It was incredible. So I love the proximity to downtown, man. Baseball is going to be starting up soon. Great place to pregame, postgame, whatever.
You know what's underrated? A lot of card rooms, you feel like you're in the dark. There's no windows.
Yeah.
It feels a little seedy. When you go in, there's windows. There's a great patio. It overlooks San Diego Bay. It's light. It's airy. I mean, it's just, it's a different feel than most, gaming establishments you've ever been in. So if you haven't been there yet, give it a try, please. Check out the dealers, check out the restaurant, check out the 24/7 players menu, and tell them Ben and Woods sent you if you asked. It's 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from downtown.
Today is National Shower with a Friend Day. I just noticed on the rundown. Can I?
No.
Oh,
No, you can't.
all right. That would be. It'd be different. It'd be different. I don't like showering with anyone. We don't have a lot of coverage in the shower.
Water coverage.
Yeah. So one person is standing off to the side, freezing, while the other person is luxuriously rubbing eco water through their hair, and the other person is, let me get in there. Let me get in there. It's not fun. We don't have that scene in my house. But it is the day. Today, if you're going to do it any day this year, today is the day.
Today is the day.
Shower. It says shower with a friend. Not a
pretty good
spouse
friend.
or a lady friend or whatever. That would be an interesting Tier 1 Gold member stream, Beatrice says.
Ooh.
3 of us in a shower. We could do that at fantasy camp or at spring training, maybe. Or not.
Or not.
Yeah.
All right.
Whenever you're ready.
I just don't know
I'm
where to
ready.
go from there.
I mean, just go right
I'm
into
the master of
plow- yeah,
transitions
plow-
and segues,
plow through.
but you really threw me for a loop on
Good.
that one.
That's what I wanted.
Can't
to do.
stop picturing what are the logistics of this?
Who's the one hogging the water? It's probably me. And you're Woodsy. Let me get in there. I'm
It's
freezing.
also National Chocolate Fondue Day. We could have ourselves one hell of
Bit
a
of an
night.
orgy in there with fondues and showers.
It's also Disaster Day, which just I think if we tried to implement the other ideas, we would end up with a disaster.
That's very true. Very true. Interesting.
I can't kind of get my brain around it.
Showering with a friend.
Well, obviously, it looks great in the movies.
Oh,
but,
it looks
you know.
fantastic.
But they always have like the big,
Two heads.
glass
Yeah.
enclosed shower. But most people have one of those, bathtubs with the,
Yeah, the-
curtains that pull back.
and like the thing that you can take off and
Yeah,
the removable piece.
Logistically, it's just never quite the same as you have in your imagination.
No, we've stayed at some hotels that had some really nice big showers with multiple,
Nozzles?
and it's fun. But even then, still like, it's got a bed over there. It's fine. You know what I mean?
I once got to stay in a suite at Las Vegas. I think it was the Bellagio, and there literally was like 9 nozzles. Like
that's I wouldn't have left the shower, man.
Like from all angles, above, side,
Under.
diagonal, like under everything. Yeah. There was like so many shower nozzles everywhere.
It's like a ride, man.
yeah.
Oh, if I had money, that's what I would. My first thing I would put in my home would be a really nice big shower, big shower with all the different with steam and all that. That's what I want. Miss it.
Like a shower seat in there,
the
where you
bench.
can,
Yeah. Oh, I would love it. I would love it.
All right, let's continue to speculate on our San Diego Padres again. We're now just 1 week away from pitchers and catchers reporting, as AJ Preller has indicated and did so again on FanFest, and kind of the message from the team has generally been, just because we don't have a player at the start of spring training doesn't mean that we're done with player acquisition. You can't judge the book yet. It hasn't been completely written. At this time last year, they like to point out that Luis Arraez obviously wasn't a Padre. Dylan Cease wasn't a Padre. Jurickson Profar wasn't even a Padre at this point last year. And while I fully acknowledge that there could and probably will still be moves made by AJ Preller, maybe this week, maybe the first week of spring training, maybe the last week of spring training. I don't know when they're coming. I don't anticipate any Dylan Cease-esque moves, like acquiring a frontline ace starting pitcher. I just don't.
We're better. There's a better chance of us losing a frontline ace pitcher than there is of us acquiring one, which that's not great.
So it's a bit disingenuous. I certainly understand that the point is that moves can and likely still will be made. So reserve your judgment a bit on the San Diego Padres. But anytime they mention, and we didn't get Dylan Cease until the last few days of spring training, we didn't get Luis Arraez until May, I don't see any pathway toward adding players of that caliber or even close.
That's the thing, is they had the capital at the time
Correct.
to go out and acquire those guys. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. The Luis Ariz deal was a fleece. We fleeced, 100% fleeced the Marlins. From all I've heard from people formerly in the Marlins organization to what they're doing now, it was a total fleece. But you got to have those guys that other teams are interested in. Yeah, we got 2 of them. We have 2 really good ones, but I don't think they're going to give those guys up for anybody right now, especially this close to spring training.
And I'm not even sure who would be on the market.
100%, right? Who are you going to go out and acquire?
Remember, you knew at this time last year that the White Sox had been shopping Dylan Cease.
Right.
And, he was someone that at least had been talked about. Luis Ariz had also kind of been at least on the outskirts of discussions, and when the Marlins got off to a bad start, that intensified those, talks. But yeah, I just don't see it out there. There's not an avenue to significantly improve this team. The best you can do is improve on the margins, areas where you don't have any established big leaguers to play, like left field.
We are the team. We are the White Sox and the Marlins from last offseason. The Padres are it as far as 1-year rental type stud pitchers in Michael King and Dylan Cease. We are that team. Now, we're not going to fare as poorly as the White Sox and the Marlins this year. That I do promise you. I'll stand on that one. But we're the team with tradable assets right now. There's not a lot of other teams been looking to move top of the rotation guys, at least from what I've heard. There's one team that is interesting right now. The Baltimore Orioles yesterday went out and signed Ramon Laureano to a 4-year deal, or I think it was a 4-year deal, or no, $4 million deal.
Or $4 million 1 year, yeah.
He is now their 7th outfielder, 7th or 8th outfielder. They have, Baltimore fans were like, why are we doing this? We've got more than enough, but there was something in Ramon Laureano they wanted, they got him, and there's a glut of outfielders there. I can't imagine not looking at that team as somebody that may want to trade, but what do you have to give up? If it's Dylan Cease for Heston Kierstad, I don't think that's the deal that I want to do. But they're going to have to get rid of some of those players, I would imagine.
So that's an avenue. I mean, another outfield option came off the market yesterday when Reindl Report signed a 1-year deal to return to the Arizona Diamondbacks. He had a surprisingly good season last year. 291, 12 home runs, 46 runs batted in about half of a season. That's beyond what his career numbers generally were. He's 250 career hitter. So I think a lot of teams were skeptical that he would be able to put up anything similar to that. But the Diamondbacks decided that, they definitely feel like the Padres from a couple of years ago, where they're pushing more chips toward the middle of the table,
big time.
and hoping to attract some more attention and fans with the moves that they're making, headlined, of course, by Corbin Burns. But there have been other moves that they've made, adding the trade for Josh Naylor, to replace Christian Walker. Obviously, that's a big loss, but they have an exciting looking team coming into the season.
Yeah, on paper, absolutely.
Phoenix.
Yeah, everyone in this division. I mean, the Giants just stopped. They stopped. They got Willie Adames, and that was it. I mean, they're really kind of done for the offseason. That's from their GM Buster Posey's lips. He said, I don't think we're going to make any more moves, which is odd to me. But
what do you think happened last year with the Diamondbacks, and what do you think happens this year? Do you think they bounce back and are more like the 2023 team, or are they more like the 2024 team?
I was feeling really good about my preseason Diamondbacks. They're not going to make a run. They actually played really well in the second half, I do believe. The first half was a nightmare.
They had the best record along with us, or right up there with us. Right?
And it took them that long to kind of get over, playing deep into October, playing in a World Series. But this year, man, I expect Corbin Carroll to come out hot. I expect Ketel Marte to continue to do what he does. Christian Walker is a huge loss. Where did he go again? Who's he playing for?
Where did he sign?
It's all running together for me right now.
I've got it in my notes somewhere.
But yeah, I think,
Houston.
That's right. Oh, wow. So now you got Corbin Burns. You got a really nasty starting rotation. The bullpen has been pretty nasty for them. So, yeah, dude, this is going to be no joke.
And let me just kind of blow your mind a little bit. You say there was a hangover for Arizona.
Yeah.
They won 84 games in 2023. They won 89 games last year. They had a better season last year than they did the year they went to the World Series.
What were they at the break?
The problem was they didn't make the playoffs last season.
With 89.
And they ended up in the World Series the year before. You can't – yeah, they had a great October because they got in and got hot.
Yep.
But they actually had a better season last year than they did the year they went to the World Series.
Yeah, I guess it's just how you frame it, right?
It's totally
how you frame it.
It is. I mean, I'm sure Diamondbacks fans don't feel that way. They probably feel very let down after going to the World Series and then not making the playoffs. You feel disappointed, but they actually improved by 5 games. That's a solid improvement. They had a They took a big step forward actually from 2023 to 2024.
I feel like that.
But ironically, they went to the World Series in 2023 and didn't make the playoffs in 2024.
I feel like if you're pitching that on Arizona sports radio, it's kind of like us pitching, hey, our payroll is actually higher this year than last.
It's very similar, I'm sure, yeah.
And
very true.
Nobody wants to hear it. Okay. Nobody wants to hear it at all.
But if they can go 5 more wins this year, that's 94.
No doubt.
I'd sign up for that now if I was the Arizona Diamondbacks fan because you feel like that's going to make the playoffs. You thought 89. Remember, early last season, we were thinking, 85, 86, probably going to get the Padres in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We take that. They take our chances. Well, the Diamondbacks won 89 games, and they didn't end up getting in to the postseason last year. But they didn't have a bad year.
And they got better. They got better this offseason.
And they have gotten, they've gotten better.
I don't think we can say the same. No, in fact, we can't say the same. We have not gotten better as of today, February 5th. We have not gotten better from last year. We haven't. Guys have gotten raises. That does nothing for to add war to your team. That does nothing to add wins to your team. Guys have gotten raises. We have not improved our team really at all, honestly.
No, the Padres are counting on better performances from their stars to fuel any improvement in 2025, which is absolutely possible. Manny Machado was, after May 20th last year, was elite. When he started, his elbow started feeling better. He's supposed, says he feels healthy going into this season. Fernando Tatis Jr., obviously, a healthy season from him. Just having those two things, if they happen, and of course, that's an if, would be huge game changers. Those would be absolutely ways you could increase your win total. Just having those two guys have, top of the line seasons for both of them. And they're both set up well going into this season, but you can't be sure it's ever going to happen.
What did you call them last week? Pivot players?
Pivot players?
Pivot players. I like that.
From the 8-5.
Oh, hey.
That's all right. Let's do traffic, and then we can wrap up this conversation here on 97.3 The Fan.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change. Trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Seeing a lot of slowing on the Coronado Bridge this morning, guys, heading over to the island. It is solid from the 5, so you definitely want to take that into consideration. Give yourself a little extra time if that is your destination. Fortunately, our freeways are in pretty good shape, just seeing a lot of the usual slowing in the usual spots, but at least no incidents or accidents getting in your way. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car, and it usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So I saw it in our chat this morning. I forget from who, but kind of Paulie said it as well. After FanFest, pretty decent vibes.
I'd say.
After a rough off season at FanFest, fans are ready to jump on board, but they're waiting for the spark. And, usually that spark is a move made by AJ. And Paulie just said it during traffic. If they just a couple of signings here, you'll feel a lot better about the team. Just filling a couple of the areas of need, finding a left fielder. And, Bleacher Report threw out a couple of possibilities. We've talked about them before. Marcana, Jason Hayward. Neither of those guys are going to probably have great seasons, but they both feel like veteran upgrades over the unknown quantity that is Tirso Ornelas right now in left field.
I think I'd rather have David Peralta than either of those guys. Just bring him home.
He's available as well. But you do have to caution that making a move just to, make fans feel better this week is probably not the smartest thing. You should make a move when you feel like you've found the right player at the right price. And if that's 3 weeks from now in the middle of spring training,
You're
doesn't
right.
change anything.
No,
You don't act faster and make a rash decision just because boy, I'm going to make fans really happy by announcing this, even though if I waited a couple of weeks, I might get someone better at a better price. You can't rush the decision if that's your motivation, is just to create a little spark for fans the week before spring training.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I think it's an overgeneralization because you do have needs. Like, you do have needs, and there's only a finite number of players that are out there. What's worse, Ben? Making a move that would excite the fan base now, or waiting 3 weeks, a month, that person's gone, and then having to really search the bottom of the barrel, and you didn't get who maybe you had earmarked because maybe you're waiting out a better deal, a cheaper deal, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what his board looks like. I've got no idea. Here's what I do know. He's got one. He's got parameters. He's got, if they let me spend $5 million, I'll get this. If they let me spend $3 million, I can get this. If they let me spend $1 million, I'll get this. He has it covered. That I do know.
My guess is that AJ has, let's say for left field. I'm sure starting pitching's the same. He's probably got 3 names that he has kind of circled as his top 3 targets, and he's waiting out. All right, now which one can the price come down to where I feel comfortable making a good deal with one of those players? And yeah, there's always the risk that if you wait too long, they're all gone, and then you don't have that option. You have to settle for something worse. But there's also, the opportunity cost that if you sign a guy for $6 million when you could have had him for $3 million if you waited 3 weeks, you can use that $3 million on a starting pitcher that you need as well. He's just trying to maximize, I think, what limited resources he has this offseason to fill, the last few spots on his roster.
Yeah, agreed. But
it's tough.
They do need to be filled.
Yeah, it's tough. Personally, I'm a pretty impatient person when it comes to something like this. I want to know the squad.
Well, you've grown more impatient because of the team that you're a fan of.
Exactly.
Right? And I know
we're not used to this.
No, we're not.
We're really not over the last 6 years. And you get impatient, you're sitting there waiting, but then, and nobody likes to hear it, myself included, the example of last year. It happened just a year ago. If you went back 1 year ago today, didn't have Profar.
Yep.
Didn't have Merrill, essentially. Didn't have Cease. Didn't have a Rise. This all doesn't matter until at least opening day.
Yeah. The opening day roster needs to look
Who loves to make moves
different.
for the week leading up to opening day more than AJ Preller?
I fully expect somebody to walk into spring training like Luke Voigt did when we were sitting in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens.
It happens every year.
Yeah.
It really does. All right, we're going to take a timeout. We'll come back. Hour number 2 includes Don't Do This and more. Stick around. Ben and Woods continuing on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Mentioned it at the start of the show. Fairly light sports week going on so far. You watched a little basketball, you said?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. I did watch the Lakers and the Clippers last night. Lakers were on fire. I know, just Lucas sitting there made the offense better on the bench. I watched the Tomorrow Golf League again. Another bad match. They've had one good match out of 4.
Yep, I missed it. I think I'm over it. I saw it was on, and I went,
Pass.
I passed.
You were intrigued for a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
and now it's lost your interest.
Yeah, I think that it lost me.
Attention spans
That's
are
not-
fickle and short.
That's not hard to do, though. I mean,
For
it's
you.
not hard to lose me. I'm very tough. If it's about the mafia, then I'm in. But other than that, or OJ Simpson, and other than that, these days it's tough.
We haven't talked about the new documentary yet.
Yeah,
The new OJ documentary.
it's phenomenal.
Which is like
so
a bit of a hyperbole, like a new OJ Simpson documentary. Like
and you said that you're
it's an
you're all in
automatic
again.
watch.
It's an auto watch.
What could we possibly not know about the O.J. Simpson case at
I don't
this
know.
point?
I just like the rehashing
I mean,
of it.
Netflix. There's been dramatization TV shows made after it. Like
Brilliant.
ESPN had their 5-part series.
One of the
10
best you'll
years
ever
ago.
see.
One of the best documentaries of all time. And then Max just came out with a new 4-parter, and I saw that, and I go, wait, and I checked the year. It's 2025. Like,
It was Netflix.
just came out, or Netflix.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Netflix.
Did you watch the whole thing over the weekend, or just
Yes.
get started? You watched
All
the
of
whole thing.
yeah, I was done
So,
in a day.
What possibly different could they have done compared to all the other ones?
Well, there's a lot of talk from Furman, a lot of finger pointing from Mark Furman.
like,
and,
did they actually sit down with him?
Oh, yeah.
So he did the.
him speaking about how this is going on his gravestone. I mean, it's gnarly, right? You watch it and you go, oh man, but I can't get enough.
Ron Goldman's sister was
Yeah,
really good.
she was really good in it. There's one part, and I'll spoil it. I don't care. It's OJ. It's 30 years ago. All right. So, but I don't know if I'd seen this.
You
before.
can't spoil anything.
See, that's what I thought. So they're talking to his longtime agent, and his agent stuck by him.
That was
So he says he loses his home. He's out of jail, but he loses his home in Brentwood. He's going to have to sell, OJ's manor, basically. And he said, and it sucked because that place for us was like our Disneyland. Like, that's where we all went. And so when he lost, he goes, we packed up some stuff. He said, OJ and I are sitting by the pool. Sun's going down, and we're just sitting. And he goes, I looked over at him, and I looked at in his face, and I could tell he was deep in thought. And he said, you see that tree? Nicole and I planted that tree. No, he said it got infected, so we spent thousands of dollars to save that tree. He goes, and that tree's still here, and Nicole should be here. And his agent sat there, and finally he goes, I just was overcome with the need to ask. So he says, hey, man, what happened that night? OJ sits and goes, what do you think happened? And he goes, do you think I did it? And he goes, I didn't know what to do in that moment. Do I be his agent and say, no, I don't think you did it? Or do I answer honestly? And he said, yeah, I think you did it.
He said, do I answer honestly and throw away
Throw away
everything
30 years.
that I have built?
Yeah.
I mean, he built a sports empire alongside OJ.
Yeah.
And
And then so he says, Nicole would be here if she hadn't opened the door with a knife that night. And I was like,
yeah. I was like,
Started to sweat.
I've seen every documentary
Yeah, I
ever
don't-
made about the story. I don't remember hearing that.
I don't remember that one. So I was like, ooh, man. Now it's funny because I
And
had
then he said, and then he comes. They show the agent again in his interview setting, and he goes, "I quit the next morning.
quit the next day. Yeah.
Threw everything away."
So I had a Seals game to work on Saturday night. So Hannah doesn't understand my obsession with O.J. Simpson. So she walks into the bathroom. Usually when I'm getting ready for a Seals game, I've got like Van Halen or something on. I'm trying to get fired up for the game. I had the documentary on my phone going through Bluetooth while I was in the shower, listening to Mark Furman and whatever. She walks in, she goes, you're out of your mind. She goes, I've never heard you get ready for a game listening to a documentary. I go, I can't get enough. I put it on my little thing on the drive down, and I was driving down listening to the documentary. I'm obsessed with it.
She was only like, what, 4 or 5 years old when it actually
Yeah, something like that.
happened. So
Yeah.
too young. And I'm sure we have some tier ones, obviously our age or older, who remembers 1994 and just how all-consuming it was that year, the next year, the trial, everything that went along with it. But if you were, under the age, if you're under the age of like 35 right now, probably doesn't resonate as much. It's
you didn't even know
it's just history.
You didn't know the impact of OJ Simpson. You didn't grow up watching him play football. You didn't grow up watching him in Naked Gun, running through the airport in Hertz commercials. It didn't affect you.
It's funny, I've told you guys this before, because I fall into that category of I was just a little bit too young. I knew the name, I knew something was going on, but I didn't know what was happening in the 90s when this was going on. And I had a buddy a couple of years ago when I was like, dude, you got to see this new documentary.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And he goes, he's a sports fan, very casual. And he goes, wasn't OJ just like okay at football?
No.
And I go, no, bro. This was
he
like
was one of the
LeBron
best.
or Tom Brady murdering their wife.
That's right.
Brutally.
That's right.
Like this, he was like the biggest sports star on the planet.
Yeah.
It's
It was insane. And anytime they come out with one, I'm like, all right, I'm in.
And
it hooks me.
I don't know about your family, but I remember the trial, and it was just like on TV
all the time,
every single day. You sat, you had it on at home. Like, what was the next? What did Judge Ito, and you had the prosecution, Christopher Darden, and
he's in there. He's
who
in
was
the
who was the woman who was the
Marsha
Clark? Yeah, I mean, these became larger than life characters, like the biggest celebrities in the world for a year and a half were a bunch of lawyers, essentially, that were associated with the case. The defense team, Johnny Cochran, Robert Kardashian. I mean, they were all. Every witness was their own celebrity every single day.
F. Lee Bailey. I mean, it's just elite. It's just the craziest thing I've ever seen. And this documentary does a great job. So what I did after I finished that doc,
it focused on a lot of evidence that was never presented in trial.
A bloody thumbprint on the door, and they don't print it.
How about the woman that saw him at the crosswalk? that night.
Never talked to her.
And she was like, I was not asked to testify, or I was not allowed to testify. Why the hell not?
There was a guy in Chicago, so the bit was he went over and did what he did, and then hauled ass back, almost ran into this lady at a crosswalk, gets home to Brentwood, runs upstairs, showers, comes down, gets in the limo, goes to Chicago. Guy in the airport at Chicago, it watches him stuff a travel bag into a garbage can. Murder weapon, clothes, the whole bit. Likely. Shove it in the garbage can. He's like, why is O.J. Simpson jamming luggage?
The limo driver, and he's like, I got out, I helped him with his bag.
Yeah.
And I went to grab this leather traveling bag, and he goes, not that one.
Not that one.
I'll grab
got
that one.
And the guy witnessed him shoving it in a can.
At the airport.
They never talked to the guy. It's just you couldn't have fumbled. The guy from The Office carrying the pot of chili in? That was what the cops and the prosecution did.
It's not necessarily admissible, a lot of that stuff. I mean,
but you can interview them. You can talk to them. They ignored a lot of it. They fumbled. The guy that got the blood sample from OJ, and instead of booking it downtown that day, carrying it around to all the different locations. Here I am with the blood sample at Brentwood. Here I am with the blood sample at Nicole's house. Why are you carrying around a blood? Have you ever done this before? No. So, of course, it's reasonable doubt of like, oh, well, you clearly were planning it on socks and doing whatever you wanted. It's reasonable doubt. You couldn't have.
I don't know how reasonable it was. I mean,
it was
for that particular jury, and at that time, before we're so familiar with DNA, and before CSI was a show that we all got used to, and DNA became, you can't, there's no it could be like all kinds of different people's DNA. I remember making the argument, well, it could have been someone else. It's like,
that's true. No,
it can't be someone else's DNA.
But if
one person's DNA.
If you're carrying around blood of the alleged murderer, and you're the defense, you're like, why didn't you just book it? Why would you carry it around if not to plan it? If
that's your whole case, it was planted
evidence,
and then you have a racist cop that was doing all of it. You're like,
it's a slam dunk.
We all know what happened, and you're still like, you watch it all play out. I mean, in a sick way, an absolutely brilliant performance from Johnny Cochran and their whole team.
Yes.
The way they played that with everything. How much of American history goes into that case with the Rodney King stuff and how it's all linked together. And
crazy.
You watch it all play out, and you're like, I'm pretty sure he did it, but I also totally
I
see
totally
why
understand.
it played out the way
And,
it
I
played
know.
out.
and remember, when it came to the lawyers, it was it was a huge mismatch. You had public employees,
Yep. Against the dream team.
against an absolute dream team.
It's
Like,
me, you, and Paul against the NBA All-Stars. You know what I mean? Like, we may get a bucket here or there, maybe, but doubtful. But they wiped the floor with them. And so, yeah, I mean, you ask, is it interesting to watch this new documentary? The answer is unequivocally yes. It's really, really well done.
And you'll watch the next one in 5 years.
So you know what I did?
Damn right.
I finished it driving to the Seals game. That night I came back and I watched the Cuba Gooding Jr. thing. I started it that night. I can't get enough. So you ask me, that's kind of what I'm watching right now as we wait for the Super Bowl.
30 years ago, I remember I was in college.
Yeah, we were watching the basketball game.
And I was taking some sort of test when the verdict was they announced it was going to be the verdict. And,
I was at
just
work.
Everything stopped.
Yep.
Like you had to
4 hours.
you had to find out. Everybody needed to know.
Nick said on Twitter, I was stationed in El Toro. I actually saw the white Bronco going down the freeway. It was absolutely crazy and surreal. Yeah, surreal is the best way to put it. But yeah, hey, look, if you need something to watch right now, you're waiting for the Super Bowl to start, you're waiting for baseball season, it's on Netflix. I don't even know what it's called. It's like OJ, The Untold Story or some BS. I don't know, but it's
4-part series.
fantastic.
Really
It's
good.
fantastic.
They're running out of names for OJ
They are, yeah.
documentaries, just
The
like baseball
Untold Story.
podcasts.
Did he do it? He did it. I mean, yeah, they're running out of ideas. But anytime you put one out, you got me. I'm all in.
All right, we'll take a timeout. Just lead straight from OJ into Don't Do This, which is our next segment. So that seems somewhat appropriate.
I've got a killer do this with a current Major League Baseball pitcher. This was fascinating.
Oh, okay. That'll be interesting. I've got one for you. Don't Do This from the NBA and some comments that I think you can debate one way or another. We'll get to that coming up. First, let me tell you about SDFatLoss.com. My journey involved, I just, about 2 years ago, I just realized, you know what, I don't like what I look like in the mirror. I've let myself just gain a little bit too much weight. Part of it is just getting older. Part of it is, just not watching your diet enough. So I said, what am I going to do about it? I've done other programs. I've done the shakes. I hated it. I can't starve myself. I like to eat too much. So they came to me and told me about SDFatLoss.com, how I can eat regular foods like steak and chicken. And if I eat them at the right times and the right portions, I can lose up to 1 pound of fat per day. Well, it worked for me. I lost 40 pounds in 60 days. I think it can work for you as well. No one wants it to take a year, right? I mean, faster is better than slower. And if I can do it, I think you can do it as well. I'm not the only one. Scraby, Chris, they lost 77 pounds total. John and Jess down the hall, they lost 70 pounds as well. So many tier ones have shared their stories. Karen, 28 pounds. Her cholesterol dropped 100 points. Bruce, 47 pounds in 60 days. Tons of energy. This could be your story as well. Just go to their website, sdfatloss.com. Sign up for your free consultation now and get $200 off. Call it their Valentine's Day special, whatever you call it. Just make it the inspiration for you to change your life like I did without any injections or drugs. No hormones. It's easy to follow. They've got great counselors, a great app to help you out as well. Just go to sdfatloss.com. That's sdfatloss.com. Don't Do This is brought to you by Trust and Will. Don't leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die. Do set up a trust or will online at trustandwill.com. It's a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info. Woods?
Told you guys a month or so ago about the Ravens fan by the name of John Callis. We talked about the video. It was after they played the Commanders. He was extremely intoxicated, walking down the street, just punching random Commanders fans. And he was screaming out, "I don't lose. I don't lose." Well, maybe he was right, because his sentence came down yesterday, Ben. He appeared in a Baltimore courtroom on Monday, actually, and he did plead guilty to 3 assault charges. The judge gave him a 10-year suspended sentence, as well as 5 years of probation, and he's got 100 hours of community service to fill and pay just over $4,000 to one of his victims. I thought that guy was going away for a while after seeing the severity of that video and the unprompt, there's no self-defense here. This is walking up to random strangers and cold cocking them, knocking them out, knocked one guy out completely. And they're just going to slap this kid on the wrist. Now, 10-year suspended sentence, it's a long time.
So that means, you don't go to jail, but if you mess
Correct.
up at all,
Yeah.
you're automatically in for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was a weird statement. The behavior we saw in the video evidence in this case was abhorrent. Baltimore City State Attorney Ivan Bates said on Monday, "There's never a scenario in which violence is acceptable. Today's outcome clearly conveys that my office will not tolerate hate-filled acts." He got a suspended sentence. He's out. He did not lose his freedom at all. He's got some restrictions on it, but he did not lose his freedom.
Is that what the prosecutors asked for, or is that what the judge decided?
I have no idea.
The prosecutors can't. They don't get to tell the judge what to do.
His attorney, Patrick Seidel, told reporters that the resolution was fair and reasonable. Yeah, I'd say it was. That's kind of disappointing, actually. He needed to do some time, in my opinion.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I
think he needed to do some time.
I can definitely see that.
And it seems like he got off a little light here.
All right, so this story, a lot of people were mad at Dennis Schroeder for his choice of words. I think it's a debatable, certainly, topic. It's the NBA trade deadline week. Luka Doncic gets traded. Everybody's being asked for reaction. Schroeder, who now plays for the Golden State Warriors, had a pretty strong take on it. He said, "Not even Steph Curry's safe, probably, when I see that. It's a bleeped up business." He said, "It's like modern slavery. It's modern slavery at the end of the day. Everybody can decide where you're going, even if you have a contract. Yeah, of course, we make a lot of money and we can feed our families, but at the end of the day, if they say, you're not coming to work tomorrow, you're going over there, they can decide that. They got to change that a little bit." Do you feel some sympathy here for Dennis Schroeder?
I mean, look, we've talked a million times on this show about how weird it would be to get a phone call from your boss and he's like, "You're going to Des Moines. Sorry." Right? It would be very weird. You got to call your wife. You got to move your kids. I understand that. Yes, I'm sympathetic to it. That being said, you want to talk about knowing exactly what you signed up. Buddy, Dennis, you don't have to be a basketball player. You can go lay brick. You can go be a teacher. You can go do anything else. I mean, if you don't like that aspect of the business, that's just one aspect. He does couch it with the fact that they do make a ton of money. I just think it's a really weird, wild comparison. I don't think it makes. I don't think he comes off very well.
I guess my point would be that he makes $13 million this year.
Yeah,
part of the baked in salary. The reason why those salaries are so high are one of the very few drawbacks of being a professional athlete. And let's not kid ourselves. There's a lot of perks to being a professional athlete.
I would say so too. I don't know that slavery had many perks or 13
One
million.
of the drawbacks, of course, is the ability of teams to trade your contracts or assign you different places, perhaps that you don't want to be. And that is part of the deal when you choose that sport.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely part of.
There is a move, and we're seeing it in the NWSL where the Wave play. They're going away from that. No draft. Players, if they say, "Hey, I don't want to play here anymore. Sell me," like Naomi Garma did for I want to play in Europe for more money. Basically, the teams are just going, okay, players get to choose where they want to. But is that feasible for Major League Baseball, for the NBA, for the NFL? Players basically just decide where they want to play and when they want to play.
I don't think it's feasible. I mean, the system.
I think it would fall apart if you really just allowed players to have that much freedom and influence over who they want to. I want to play with my friends. I want to play in these certain cities.
Bro, they don't even let us in Encinitas Little League. You can't even choose your friends to play with.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm embroiled in a huge battle right now trying to get a T-baller on my team. Listen, I know that it's probably not a comfortable situation, and I know that it's probably you're anxiety-ridden, but I don't think that's the wise comparison to make. I just don't. I don't think it's a wise thing to say. Because, again...
And again, I really am not trying to shame Dennis Schroeder for his choice of words.
I'm not either.
He's not even from this country. He's from Germany.
Yeah.
Totally different. I have no idea what his background is. So it's not really my point. My point is, though, in sports, and I thought you made a perfect comparison with Little League, you can't always pick your teams. You just can't. They have to create a league with competitive teams.
Yeah.
You have to be able to find a way to divide the talent up to different spots.
Yeah.
And if players just chose where they wanted to play and who
what
they
coach
wanted
they
to
want to play
with,
for, yeah.
and the coach they wanted to play with, you would have massively unbalanced leagues. More so than they already do.
I mean, honestly, like, who says, I want to be a Red? I want to be a Red. I want to be a Cincinnati Red. I want to play my games in 117-degree heat index, summer
humidity.
That's what I want to do. I want to be a Cincinnati Red. I want
a team that's probably going to finish fourth in the NL Central.
Yeah, I want to be a Miami Marlin. I want to be a Miami Marlin. I want to play down there in front of 14 people and never have a chance really at doing anything. Probably be sold off, when my contract is getting near the end. I mean, it's such a. I don't know the right solution for it, but I think that's cool what they're doing. I mean, we all think that that's cool what they're doing in the NWSL, but I think long term it's going to cause problems. No, right?
I think it would be. Yeah, I absolutely. It's not sustainable to manage a league that way.
Yeah, correct. I got a great doo-doo this. I hope you guys like this. This is
DD mega doo-doo.
This blew me away when I saw this yesterday. I don't know why it did, but it just did. They sat down with Tarek Skubal, who is just a stud pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. And they said, all right, we've pulled 3 random strikeouts from last season. I want you, Tarek, to tell us what pitch you threw to strike out these hitters on random dates. Listen to this.
Okay, Tarek, we are going to do a strikeout quiz with you. We want to see how good your memory is. The first one is a 2-2 count to Bobby Witt Jr., September 18th, bottom third, no outs. Do you know what you struck him out with?
Yeah, I threw a fastball as hard as I could, up and away. Yeah, this is probably the highest strikeout I've ever had.
They show it.
2-2 count to Juan Soto, May 5th, bottom third, no outs.
Sinker down and away.
Oh, my God.
Yes, 98-mile-per-hour
So
sinker.
quick.
Called strike, away.
Called strike down and away.
2-2 count to Ellie De La Cruz, July 7th, bottom 6.
Kind of a pulled cut changeup down, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
That's insane.
it's insane. Well, Hunter says it's not random. It's Juan Soto, Bobby Witt, and Ellie De La Cruz. Yeah, 3 big stars, certainly.
Probably remember those ones a little bit more.
Yeah,
than-
but it's still nuts to me. Like, that really, I watched that yesterday. I was like, I could do this all day. We should do this at spring training with some of the Padres pitchers, see if they remember.
It would be interesting if, for instance, it was a less memorable opponent or game. Marcell Ozuna in a 7-0 loss to the Braves in the second inning.
I bet he would
Would
remember.
he be able to remember like that well?
The strikeout pitch, I think, clearly it's something that they think about. That's phenomenal recall. Phenomenal.
A couple of
recall.
people pointing out, like Ben with his rounds of golf.
Yeah, you can do that.
I mean, I do have a good recall on rounds, but the more you play, the more they do melt into each other. Like, oh wait, was that?
Yeah, was that here?
Which
Was
date?
that there?
Like, if you ask me, like on May 23rd, on the 5th hole, you hit you had a 5-iron in. Well, how did it go? Like, I don't. You're gonna have to give me more context, maybe, because all the
Not Tarek Skubal.
but not Tarek Skubal.
No,
he
I thought
knew
that was
it
really
for
cool.
sure.
Really cool.
Impressive for sure. That's don't and do this for a Wednesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
I appreciate that you put in some time and effort last night, because I had the question. I've always had this question. Someone please make sense of cricket for me. It's the one sport that I've never been able to fully grasp. And baseball is its closest comparison.
Yep.
You would think that, okay, this should be a natural fit for a baseball fan.
It's not.
And it's not.
It's not even close.
Why isn't it, Woods?
I will tell you.
You're going to give us that answer based on your research with a little Rabbit Hole Wednesday coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, friends, don't go through another year with all that high-interest debt you've accrued. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Their rapid equity loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle the 2025 home improvement project that you've been dreaming on. Get cash in your pocket fast with no appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Their AI-driven technology gets you approved and funded in as little as a day. One client pulled out $150,000 of their equity in under 24 hours. They paid off their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan. That sounds so good, doesn't it? Saving over $1,500 a month. Low fixed rates, lightning fast transfers. You can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. You can do one of those things or all of those things. Imagine being credit card debt free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto today, 619-207-4336, or go to loanpronto.com. Get your free rate quote now with no hard credit pull at 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This segment of Minute Ben Woods is brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. They're recruiting professionals utilizing award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. Well, if Robert Half knows talent, they know Woods. You are a talented fellow. And one thing that you have the ability to do is take us down rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And I will sit here and listen to you, rapt with attention over the most esoteric of subjects. And we've done it in the past. You've taken us to haunted houses, hotels,
airports,
different stories that you have spun yarns about over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. The Coronado weed smuggling gang was one of the
that was a good
best
one. Yes.
Oh, my God.
That was a really good one.
We need to do a follow-up on that. They're supposed to make it into a movie. They never did.
So yesterday we were the topic became cricket, because the NFL is going to play a game in Australia at a cricket grounds. And I brought up the fact that I just don't know how I can't grasp this sport. It's like the one that I just don't get at all. And I thought, well, all right, Wood said, I will do a little more research and see if I can figure this out for you. And you did last night. What did you learn?
Like yesterday, we talked about Hanif Muhammad.
Yes.
Who holds the record for the longest innings in cricket history. He batted for 970 minutes and scored 337 runs back in 1958.
Pretty insane, this sport. It truly is. You know, you talk about the day and age where you want to make everything faster. They're like, no, cricket's good. We're just going to let this thing ride the way that we've always done it. Matches can last up to 5-6 days. And the interesting thing is, so as I went into this, I'm telling you, you start reading about it and you start watching videos and you go, what does that mean? What if there's 3 different types of matches that they can play? The highest level match, though, is what we'll be kind of talking about today. They draw
big on a 5-day game, match, whatever. Like, do they stop?
Yeah, they stop.
Go home.
They stop, go home, come back, pick up
match?
just where you left off. Now, the one thing they don't. This is interesting. So the one thing they don't mess with is the pitch. Now, the pitch in cricket is the area. Think about the pitcher's mound to home plate. So the rain, the heat, the mud. They don't go out and clean that area. So what they'll do is, so there's a big circle, and it's called a boundary. If the ball is inside the boundary, it's in the play.
That's basically the field.
The field.
It's like a big circle.
So then there's the bald strip, in the middle of the ground. It's called the pitch.
I've seen it.
Okay.
That's the pitch. So
that's
pitch
the
isn't
pitch.
the whole thing like a soccer
No,
pitch.
it's not.
It's just the area between
the mound and the
bowler.
The bowler.
Who's the guy who throws like the pitcher in baseball.
And the catcher, essentially.
And then the catcher. And then there's the stick there is the wicket.
3 sticks.
3 sticks.
It's the wickets.
The wickets.
Correct. So you have 2 players on offense. One
on each side. Right, I've seen that.
So if I'm hitting and you're at the other end of the other wickets, right? So they pitch me a ball, I hit it, and it goes into a gap. You and I both start running back and forth.
Trading places.
Back and forth, until they get that ball back into the pitch. And what they do with the ball is they try to hit the wickets and knock them down. And if they do, stop scoring runs. Maybe we scored 6 times, but they get you before, so that's an out.
Going back and forth.
Okay. So there's 11 players in the field, and they have people stationed like in foul ball areas.
Right.
So you just stand there and wait. Imagine if you were playing at the old Oakland A's Coliseum, and you could just have a guy standing by the dugout where all those foul balls would come. And if you catch it, it's an out.
And it's a skill for the batters to sometimes just deflect the ball backwards. They're looking, like Luis Ariz, they're looking the areas where there's no fielders, because that's what they're trying to do, is put the ball in places where no one can reach it.
That's exactly right.
Right. Okay.
So the defending team wants to stop the ball from going out of boundary. Now, there's a line, and I think in even some cases there's a fence.
Tiny little fence, usually.
So you can yak it. Oh, that's like a home run. That's worth 6 points. That's a 6.
Yeah.
Then there's if you hit it where there's no fielder, you hit one in the gap, that's a 4. Okay? So it's pretty fascinating. And so you have to get all of the guys out. There's 11. So you start with 2. I got those 2. I got Ben and Woods out. Now Paulie and Adam are up next. We got to get those guys out. And you keep hitting until you get all of those out.
All right, this is where, because I followed you so far. I followed this so far. I've understood for the most part how all this works.
Yeah.
When you get, does one team send all their batters
Yes.
to the plate first?
Yes, until you get 11 outs.
So they score however many runs in their 11 outs,
Correct.
and however long that takes, 172, 193.
Yes.
And then the other team comes up,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And they bat again until all 11 are out?
And
or
they can try to score more runs. But it's essentially, it is a lot like baseball. I mean, you're trying to score as many runs as you possibly can. It's very convoluted. The wickets, they used to just be the 3 wickets. Now they put something on top of it, Ben, and I think they call them, I want to say they call them riders or something. The horizontal pegs, bales is what they're called. Horizontal pegs that sit like this. Look, 3 wickets, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Then they put these things on top, bales, and they're not attached. They're like kind of loose. So bales are critical for determining if the wicket has been put down or broken. So if I throw a ball from right field area and I hit the wickets, but the bales don't come down, doesn't count. You got to knock the bales off of the wickets. All right.
So
it's really the terminology that's confusing.
So specifically again, how do you get a batter out?
Okay,
Now,
so there's 3 ways.
One strike essentially gets you out. If they knock down, the bail on one pitch,
Correct.
like if you swing and miss and it hits the wicket and knocks down the bail, you're out. Like you could have one swing. You get up there, you take one swing and you miss. You're done for the day.
So
you're done for the game.
The other ways to get you out is think about a ground ball. Ground ball to me, I pick it up, I throw it at the wickets, knock the bails off, out. You hit a fly ball.
Before what? Before you run across. Run across once.
Before you guys run across.
And then any fly ball is an out, like in baseball.
There's no gloves. They catch it all with their bare hands.
It's an out.
Yep. And then the other way is if you hit, as a pitcher, the bowler, if you hit the batter's leg, it's called LBW, leg before wickets. If the batter's leg, if the ball hits that, he's out. So you can hit a guy with a pitch.
You tried it.
Yes, you can hit a guy with a pitch.
So there's a bit of dodgeball involved in cricket as well. I didn't know that.
The cool thing is when I was talking earlier about how they don't fix the pitch and clean it up, you know why they do that? So bowlers, like in baseball, you have pitchers that are your velo guys, you have your location guys, you got your thumbers, you got your whatever. So if the pitch gets hard and fast, you want to do a guy that can spin it. You know, he can bounce it off the ground, spin it hard. If it's sloppy, maybe you want a little spin, right? He'll drive it right into the ground. So they have different bowlers for different situations. It's pretty fascinating. So a couple of the fun facts I found for you guys. The fastest cricket pitch ever recorded was thrown by Shoaib Akhtar during the 2003 Cricket World Cup. He clocked in as a bowler, a straight arm bowler is what they call it. It's not underhand, it's over the top. 100.23 miles an hour.
Okay.
During a match with England. His feat made him the first cricket bowler to reach 100 miles an hour. He did this twice during his storied career. He earned the nickname the Rawalpindi Express. Like what was Nolan Ryan's? The Pony Express? He's the Rawalpindi Express for his impressive pitches.
Can I ask?
Yes.
So I know they have overs, which I always felt were like innings. But
overs are actually balls. Number of balls.
All right. According to this, an over is 6 balls bowled by a bowler. But why does it matter? If you bat until all 11 are out, why does it matter how you divide up the balls and the overs?
I don't know. I could not understand
that's
the
one
over
thing that
at all.
That's one thing I cannot get.
I couldn't either. I could not either.
It would make so much more sense if it was just, all right, you go until you're all out, and then the other team goes until they're out, and if you stop them from making as many runs as you do, you win.
Yeah.
And if they get more runs, they walk it off at the end. But that never seems to be the score or the case and how it ends.
There's like a certain number of overs you can throw. There's a certain number of balls. I think it's 300. It's so maddeningly confusing. But I wanted to tell you, too, about the greatest cricketer of all time, Australia's Donald Bradman. His nickname, by the way, the Don, which is fantastic. Considered the greatest batsman of all time, Ben. His batting average was 99.94, meaning he doesn't miss. He doesn't miss. When he's up there hitting, he doesn't miss. 99.94, the best performance among all other players in all sports. Many fans believe there'll never be another player like the Don. I was reading about him. Surly, withdrawn, kind of an a-hole, to be honest. But the longest cricket match occurred in 1939, South Africa and England. The game lasted for 14 days, and it ended in a draw. It ended in a draw after 2 weeks.
Wow.
How does one find the time to be a fan? It's like the Truman Show. You're like, I'm going to go to bed, I'm going to wake up, and they're still going to be playing this game. They're going to finish it tomorrow. Like, it never ends. It's just insane.
Sounds like Luis Ariz would be good at this
I think
sport.
he would be
Making
such an
contact
elite cricketer.
Seems imperative if you're a batter in cricket.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. And now and I watched a couple of like how-to videos. I didn't go watch any videos of like actual games. I watched like how to understand how to watch cricket, and there's some good stuff out there, some good resources. But I mean, yeah, you're right, man. When it comes to the overs and the different types of games that they play, they have 3 forms of games: the 20-20, the one-day international. I think that's the shortest one, and then test matches.
Cricket, yeah.
The test crickets are the ones that's the highest level, and it can go for many, many days.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely parts of it that make sense, and again, parts of it that I still cannot penetrate.
I don't think I realized that you had 2 guys running
back and forth,
and trying to score as many runs as you
Does
can.
the same guy keep batting, or does it switch to the other guy?
No, same guy keeps batting.
So how does the guy who's running ever get to bat?
He'll come up once that guy gets out. He jumps
then it's
up,
his turn,
and then
someone else comes in as the. So
that's
you're
right.
basically, when you're running, you're also on deck.
Yeah, you're on deck
for batting.
Imagine having to do that in baseball. Like you're the on deck guy, but you have to run the bases when that guy hits the ball before you come up.
All right,
it's just, dude. But I was watching these how-tos, and I was like, all right, like if it's on, I'll give it a shot because it seems fascinating. I mean, you're talking the best cricketers in the world. Oh, he scored 28,000 runs in his career. I mean, just an insane amount of numbers and stats. But yeah, I think the most impressive was the Don with a 99.94 batting average, almost 100%.
What's so exciting though is because outs are so important. It really is dramatic. When someone makes like a diving catch or something, it ends that guy's at bat. That creates an incredibly exciting moment in cricket.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple of videos where, with that little wall where the sixes are the home runs, essentially, the guys can like bat the ball. Like if it's going over the wall, they can hit it back, but they can't fall over the wall because that's a home run. So they have to like bat it back and then run themselves back in to catch it to keep it inside the field of play.
Oh, this is interesting. Thomas says the runner and hitter swap off depending on how many bases the hit goes for. So if it's an odd number of bases, if it's like 5, they switch.
Oh, and if it's even the same guy
keeps hitting.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like they're making it harder than it has to be.
A little bit. Yeah.
I feel like they are. But then again,
but people would probably say the same thing about baseball.
They
if they
probably
didn't understand it.
Probably.
So.
Like, why do you keep going to the bullpen? Welsh Fryer, who lives in Wales, says, you guys probably know more about cricket than me. I have absolutely no interest in it, which is insane to me because he grew up in Wales and that it's started in England. And it's probably everywhere.
And it's most popular now in like India
and Pakistan are the
Australia,
2 biggest.
think,
they're the well, I would say Dodgers Padres, but it's the Dodgers Giants to make Dodger fans happy this morning. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Yeah, so when you land at home plate, you're the batter.
Right. So if you were at the other one, it was 1, you're back at home, or it's 3, you're back at home, or it's 5, you're back at home.
That's right.
All right, got it.
Pretty cool.
All right,
it's
thank you, Woods.
Pretty cool.
I appreciate that. It's a good day for it. Like I said,
rabbit hole.
Not a lot else going on. We do have the NBA drama continuing this week. We just had another trade. I will let you know about that. Yes, we did. NBA trade, not baseball trade. Pipe down over there. After a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Got an accident on the coastline now, southbound 5 before Santa Fe Drive. It's in middle lanes. Also traveling east on the 54 before the 125. We have reports of some sort of construction debris across middle lanes. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Another Shams trade news, and nothing seems big now after what has already gone down this week. But the Milwaukee Bucks trading Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, and a pick swap to the Washington Wizards for Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and second-round draft compensation. The trade deadline's tomorrow at noon, our time. So
we were just talking about Kyle Kuzma yesterday.
We were.
One of the
Name
Washington Wizards.
Name a wizard. Well, now you can name Chris Middleton as a new wizard. So
he got banned. Middleton gets banished to Washington.
to Washington.
That's tough.
That's nuts. That's bad news.
Yeah.
So
really tough.
Yeah, we had the introductory. Oh, go ahead,
I
Paul.
was going to say, you mentioned Shams breaking that news. I saw a clip, I believe it was yesterday. He was on Zoom doing a hit with the Pat McAfee show. And towards the end of the interview, Shams kind of goes quiet as he's staring at his laptop or his phone. And he goes, guys, I'm sorry, I gotta go. And they're all like, whoa,
easy.
Imagine talking to Jeff Passan as he gets a text, guys, I gotta go.
I got a jam.
I don't know what that news was about. Maybe it was that trade
Maybe this one
right there. But yeah, that made me laugh.
So yesterday, had the introductory news conference for Luka Doncic in L.A. LeBron had some comments as well. He said, seemed like he's okay with it.
Yeah.
And despite the initial stunned reaction, and he said, AD's one of my best friends, and I will always treasure the time we had, the championship we won. But he said Luka is one of my favorite basketball players in the world.
That's pretty cool to hear.
And he said, if I didn't like it, I'd just waive my no trade clause and I'd go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that. So sounds like he's in it, for as long as he wants to be in it with Luka Doncic. Doncic, meanwhile, was like the rest of us. When he heard, he thought April Fool's Day. Someone is pranking me. This can't possibly be true. And really, I felt for him because he said it was tough, 48 hours. It's almost like a grieving process. You're leaving the only place you've ever played in the NBA and trying to come to grips with it. But then he got to LA yesterday and he sees the Lakers, sees the jerseys, see the retired numbers, and he goes, I can see that this is actually probably a really good thing for me.
He'll be fine.
Yeah.
He looked so sad.
He did look sad.
I mean, there was they zoomed into him and he was just sitting kind of forlorn, just really bummed out. He smiled later, but I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a shock, certainly. But as I mentioned yesterday, you didn't just get banished to Washington, right? They're not just, let's get him out of here, get him in the worst situation possible. You couldn't have landed in a better spot for an NBA basketball players than the LA Lakers. And, with all their storied history and everything else and the way they treat their players, I'd say you're pretty happy. I know you're bummed to leave Dallas, but I think it's probably just an ego shock, right? Just a thorn in your pride. Everyone's calling you fat and lazy, and that's the toughest part for him.
Couple contrarian takes. Shaq said he thinks the Mavs won the trade, at least for the next 2 years. I don't think anyone can argue that long-term the Lakers won't benefit from this, but he thought it's a good move for the Mavs, at least short-term. And I did see, and I don't, fans of the Mavs who are calling in to cancel season tickets are saying the Mavs are offering them refunds, which is...
That's insane.
It's insane.
Gnarly.
Crazy.
I mean, I guess it's the right thing to do if you're the Mavericks and you have that upset of a fan base, but boy, you've got to be questioning.
Talk about an ego. How does Anthony Davis feel about that?
I haven't heard any Lakers fans calling and asking for refunds because they traded Anthony Davis, to be sure. All right, we'll come back. Second half of Ben and Woods next here on The Fan.
Oh, yeah, halfway home on a Wednesday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate you. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer of the program. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Wanted to give sincere congratulations to our afternoon program, Gwen and Chris, who, as we learned this morning, are in the top 20 of Barrett Sports Media afternoon shows in what, mid-market? Is that what we're
Major
called?
market.
Major market?
Major market.
Feels like a mid-market.
Yeah, we
sometimes.
compete against New York and Chicago and
All right.
Dallas.
Wow.
All the big boys.
Where'd they
Major
come in?
market.
18?
19. Very fitting.
For Tony Gwynn. 19 for Tony Gwynn.
I didn't make the thing. I didn't make the
Connection.
correlation. I was like, oh, Paulie, talking. He's like, oh, fitting. 19.
No.
That's what the first thing I thought. I was like, all right, easy, bro.
Number 19. If they were number 18, I would have said, nah, a little high.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a little high for those guys. But congratulations to them. Now,
you've just opened up the door.
I know.
For the very obvious question.
How'd you guys do? As I speculated weeks ago, we fell out. 21.
Others receiving votes.
Or we weren't 21.
We were 21. We were the first in the others
we were.
receiving
21
votes.
through
Now, they don't
25.
rank, just like in the AP Top 25 college basketball poll, they don't rank the team 26th, 26th. They're just first in others receiving votes. And that's where we landed.
Great.
They had done a top 25, we'd be number 21. But they do a top 20, so we're just first in others receiving votes.
Well, congrats to those guys.
What did we do wrong?
That's what I want to know.
Did we lose to a team that we shouldn't have lost to? Did we not win by enough? Like, are our computer metrics down a little bit or something?
I think everything was great last year.
I thought we had a good year. I thought we had a really solid year.
I did too.
But apparently, yeah, we dropped a couple of spots just outside of the top 20.
Yeah. Well, listen, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So what's good for us is good for them. What's good for them is good for us. So, congratulations.
Now, coming up on Friday, they name the program directors of the year, the top 20. And we'll see if our Adam Klug makes the list.
He only had one show in the top 20 out of 3.
That's true.
Shows.
That's true.
He had one that was just outside. I mean, he could probably be somewhere near 20. I don't know, possibly.
Paco wants to know in the chat, can we please have less delusional Padres talk and more SDFC talk?
I can give you a little SDFC talk if you want. They had the ribbon cutting for their performance center yesterday. We covered it, Channel 10.
Yeah.
It's a really nice facility down there at Singing Hills. It's state of the art, beautiful, 5 soccer pitches. You know, the locker room's gorgeous. Saw the video.
Saw some video too.
They have their first official preseason game this Saturday.
Yeah, they haven't played a game yet.
Out at Coachella.
They haven't played a game yet.
And their first game is a couple of weeks away. Sounded like the owner, the Egyptian guy, Mansour, who owns the team. He was like, pray to God that this works out. Like, it's an expansion team. They really don't know. None of these guys have played together until like 2.5 weeks ago when they showed up for training camp. So it's this year is a big, who knows how good the team is going to be. They say they want to compete. I mean, they got good players like, Chucky Lozano, but how would the Padres do if none of them had met each other until they showed up at spring training? Your expectations should be somewhat managed for this first season.
Well, and the funny thing is like, they said, well, listen, the Padres haven't played a game yet either. Yeah, but they have a 50-year history, so we can talk about the evolution of that. So I do apologize, Paco. We definitely plan to cover some SDFC when it goes down, for sure.
Going back to our show's rankings, at least as determined by Barrett Sports Media.
Yeah.
Jeff in the chat, I swear to God, this was not planned. How could I plan a Tier 1's comment in our chat? Jeff says, we need more Ben prank skits.
I agree.
Maybe that would help. Well, lo and behold, in the last 20 minutes, I was actually working on something behind the scenes here. So every morning, most mornings, I should say, we pull like 30 to 45 seconds of our show. Maybe it's the best Padres conversation. Maybe it's a funny moment. Put it into a social media, kind of a little primer. Like, hey, here's what you missed on Ben and Woods this morning.
I see it all the time. I rarely listen, but I do see it.
Yes, you should listen. They're funny.
I know. They usually are.
And so I was cutting something from today. It was just very random Padres talk. It's something like this from our 6 o'clock hour.
Making a move just to, make fans feel better this week is probably not the smartest thing. You should make.
So you guys were just talking Padres.
Yeah, I remember the conversation. I didn't do anything embarrassing during that conversation.
Correct. And while I was editing that promo to make it sound a little bit tighter, you take out some of the breaks and the pauses and maybe a stutter here or there. You want to make it sound clean. It sounds a little bit more like this.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
You do have to caution that making a move just to, make fans feel better this week, probably not the smartest thing.
It goes on from there.
Right.
And so while I was making that, and I was cutting out all of the pauses and the edits, I noticed that there was a lot of little waves, sound waves on my software of breathing. As you're talking, just getting ready to say your next sentence. And I thought,
breathing is good. I mean,
you have to do it.
Kind of essential to stay alive.
It's true.
Absolutely. And I thought, what if I took every pause, every breath from Ben in, I'd say, a 2-minute span, a 2-minute chunk out of our 6 o'clock hour. What if I took every pause and every breath, smashed them all together,
jam them right together,
amplified the sound? What would that sound like? And look, full disclosure, there was that video. We've made fun of Woods for his heavy breathing.
Oh, I'm a heavy breather.
Remember that video that was going around on social media? It was like some guy selling real estate or something, and he goes, "This is what happens when I let my Gen Z employee handle my social media."
My social media.
And it's just him just getting ready to talk.
So good.
And it was just big, heavy breathing. Well, here's what all of Ben's pauses and his breaths in a 2-minute chunk sounded like, condensed to about 15 seconds.
That is incredible. And that's before you're about to say a sentence like, "No, Woods." Right?
Yeah, I didn't just sprint and was out of breath. I'm just sitting here talking to you.
I could listen to it all day.
I don't like this too much. Feels like I'm someone on that, like, my 600-pound life or what. I'm sorry.
You heard me interviewing Michael King, right? It's not just you.
I know.
It's me, too.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Catching up with Padres pitcher Michael King. The Padres dugout about to launch the King of the Hill Foundation. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, it's great to see you again.
Yeah, of course. I think it's been since spring training, right?
So it was 6.5 months ago that we first met you in the back patio at Peoria. It was a great conversation. As you look back now, what stands out?
You hear my nose whistling?
Yeah, you've got more whistle than I do.
All right, 3, 2.
Your wife just goes, throwing my headphones across the office. It sucks, dude. Also, these mics are great. They pick up everything, which is why sometimes if I see he's about to go on one, I'll just
turn it off.
Which is why you'll hear me sometimes in the background going, "Yeah, no, I agree." Oh, crap.
I do the same thing. I'm afraid of leaving my microphone off, so my finger is constantly on the button the entire show.
Because you're terrified.
I live the entire show with my finger on the on-off button for these microphones.
It's so bad, dude.
Now I have to turn it off between every breath, so you don't catch all my breathing in between my statements.
I've already got them. So
before every single sentence you say. Now you're back. I love it, man. Riley says Padres better make a move soon. You guys are losing it. I actually think, Riley, we're finding it. That's how I feel about it. I think we're finding it. With segments like that, it's what sets our show apart. Paulie Nobody told Paulie to do that. He just did it of his own free will.
It's our brand.
I'm sure Ben doesn't like it, but I thought that was pretty brilliant. Hi, Adam. He says more soccer talk. Okay, cool.
More heavy breathing, please.
They'll look forward to. We'll look forward to the first preseason.
All right, you have to redeem yourself from yesterday when you got shut out 3-0. Second time you've been shut out in the last couple of weeks. Third time you've been shut out.
I'm getting
in the last couple of
DMs.
weeks.
I'm getting DMs about it. Just so you know.
take on Woods.
Yeah.
So this is your opportunity out there, Tier 1s, to kick a man when he's down, essentially, and try to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas, our musical trivia contest. Coming up in our next segment, if you want to call and get online right now, you can. 833-288-0973. That's the number, 833-288-0973. We'll have Take on Woods when we return here on 97.3 The Fan.
Well, it starts as just a nuisance, and you put up with it. And I'm not talking about Ben's breathing. I'm talking about the awful joint pain that you may have that affects everything in your life. Walking, climbing stairs, getting in and out of the car. It all hurts, right? The always there joint pain that may be in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, back, maybe all of the above. The good news is QC Kinetics' groundbreaking treatments for arthritis pain. Long-term relief is now possible through them. At QC Kinetics, their regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients would tell you, don't wait. Make the call today. Talk to the local medical professionals. I am not only a representative of QC Kinetics, I'm also a client, a longtime client. I love QC Kinetics. They changed my life, helped me get back to doing all the things I love to do with the pain that I had in my hands that I no longer have. The PRP treatments, cellular therapies will revitalize your joints. You don't have to go under the knife. Guys, it's so simple to do. It's so simple and can change everything. So call QC Kinetics in Torrey Hills and Hillcrest for your free consultation, 619-614-PAIN, 619-614-PAIN, or go to QC Kinetics online. But go to, just call 619-614-PAIN to give you a free consultation. Let them know that Woodsy from 97.3 The Fan sent you, please.
Don't forget to be listening at 9 a.m. for our opportunity to win. We'll announce today's biggest fan, chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game. Just register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest-fan in order to potentially have your name called. That's coming up in less than 40 minutes from now. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, our friend Jon Marks from Philadelphia is going to join us. We get a little Eagles talk, set the stage for the big game coming up on Sunday, and it's always good to catch up with Jon. He's a terrific guest, whatever the topic is, Philadelphia related. I hope we can see him when we go out to Philly later this year.
I think we'd probably make that happen at a Phillies game or something.
That would be nice.
Get some water.
Some water.
Get some water with him.
Jon?
Yeah, get some water with him. Talk about the different scenarios that are happening. So I love Jon Marks. You guys will too.
First, though, we've got today's game of Take on Woods. Let's get to it.
Oh,
no.
I'm a wreck.
All right, let's go to Thomas. I believe you said Thomas is correct. Line 1. Good morning, Thomas. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you guys?
I'm good. All right, Woods is gone. He's a little spun out. He's had a couple of flame out performances. People in the chat are now betting on him. I see 50 on Woods over 3. I mean, it kind of depends on the category, I think, but
he's gettable.
We'll see. He's gettable right now, and if you do get him, beat him or tie him, we'll put you into the grand prize drawing for our new prize, Motley Crue, Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM, March 28th through April 19th. You'll have a trip for 2 and 2 tickets to the show, hotel stay at Park MGM. You can get your own tickets to Motley Crue, the Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Ticketmaster.com. All right, here are the categories for Take on Woods today. Thomas, we still have All About You, and those are 5 song titles that end with the phrase about you. Keeping Up with the Joneses, 5 artists with Jones in their name. And Dance Crazes, 5 songs that help spark some short-lived dance crazes. So we got All About You, Keeping Up with the Joneses, and Dance Crazes. Thomas, what would you like to play?
I guess I'll do the dance one.
All right, the new one, Dance Crazes. Today's category features 5 songs that help spark some short-lived and some longer-lasting dance fads. You'll have 60 seconds to answer as many as you can. If you don't know one, you can pass. We'll come back to it. I had this question yesterday from Steve at Channel 10. He said, you gave someone gave a wrong answer, and then you told them the answer. Couldn't they just come back to it then?
No.
I said, no, if you pass, you can come back to it. But if you give a wrong answer, you're done. You don't get a second bite at the apple. So Dance Crazes is the category. First question's the 2-second song. Paulie will cue it up right now. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. Thomas, you ready to play?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Thomas. Let's take on Woods.
YMCA Village People.
Correct. Los Del Rio had a minor hit in Spain in 1993, but which song became a cultural phenomenon in 1996 after a Bayside Boys remix was released in the United States? K-pop star Psy took the world by storm in 2012 with which chart-topping song?
Gangnam Style.
Correct. American DJ and producer Bauer went double platinum in 2013 after a YouTube video of which song turned into a widely shared meme?
The Harlem Shake.
Correct. In 1975, Van McCoy had the country whistling and doing what disco-style dance in nightclubs across the U.S.?
The finger point.
Yeah, incorrect. Let's go back to...
Egyptian?
Nope. Los Del Rio had a minor hit in Spain in 1993, but which song became a cultural phenomenon in 1996 after a Bayside Boys time is up. That was the Macarena. And the other one you didn't get, the disco, is Do the Hustle. But you did get 3. You got YMCA by the Village People, Gangnam Style, and the Harlem Shake.
Just start guessing dances.
Yeah, well, I mean, you get one guess. We'll see how Woods does on this one. I think the Hustle's tough. All right, Woods. The bets are rolling in on you.
I think I'd do better with like a Timmy the Trumpet intro. You know what I mean?
Oh, you want to come in like a closer?
Yeah, like
in?
Hell's Bells or something? Would be great.
Make that happen at some point.
All right. I'm a wreck. I just got to get me back in my mojo.
All right, no category for Woods. We'll see if he figures this one out.
Yes. All right, that's about right. That's how it's been going lately.
All right, Thomas's score is locked in. 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Thomas.
YMCA by the Village People.
Correct. Los Del Rio had a minor hit in Spain in 1993, but which song became a cultural phenomenon in 1996 after a Bayside Boys remix was released in the United States?
Oh, she's going to make me nuts. I'll come back to it.
K-pop star Psy took the world by storm in 2012 with which chart-topping song and associated
Gangnam
dance?
Style.
Correct. American DJ and producer Bauer went double platinum in 2013 after a YouTube video of which song turned into a widely shared meme?
Bauer?
Bauer. 2 A's.
Pass.
In 1975, Van McCoy had the country whistling and doing what disco-style dance in nightclubs across the U.S.?
The Hustle.
Correct. Los Del Rio had a minor hit in Spain in 1993, which song became a cultural phenomenon in 1996 after a Bayside Boys remix was released in the United States.
Very dark period, 96. Oh, the Macarena.
The Macarena. I think that's a 3-3 tie, though, so congratulations. Thomas, you have qualified.
Some good contestants lately, man.
That was Dance Crazes. YMCA, Macarena, Gangnam Style, the Harlem Shake.
Oh.
Bauer.
And
the Hustle. You did get the Hustle, which he didn't get. He guessed, what was his guess? The Finger Point Egyptian.
You just spit.
Because it was funny. The question is, Moon in the chat says, the Finger Point Egyptian may be my favorite answer.
The finger point, like, walk like an Egyptian.
The Finger Point Egyptian. Thomas, for making fun, but hey, you qualified.
Hey, that's a dumb,
trip to
man.
Las Vegas. That's
the
good
Finger
enough.
Point Egyptian. That's greatness.
Oh, all right. Some partial redemption for
a little
Woods,
bit.
at least.
A
I mean,
little
didn't
bit.
get shut out, but we had another qualifier in taking on Woods. So congratulations to Thomas. All right, let's take a timeout. We've got Jon Marks going to join us from Philadelphia. We'll talk a little Eagles and who knows what else. Phillies, anything going on in Philly is fair game with John. Coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, let's not waste any time because I see he's on our YouTube stream. Always enjoy talking to our friend from Philadelphia. He's the host of Philly with Jon Marks. Jon Marks is with Ben and Woods right now on 97.3 The Fan. And by the way, it was big day in Philly yesterday, kind of an annual tradition. It was Joel Embiid Plays Day yesterday.
Whoa. Just over here taking shots from the West Coast, John.
We had a good game, had a game winner for the 76ers. You got to celebrate those.
I didn't watch.
Listen, we're over here dying without content for, Padres starting a couple weeks here, pitchers and catchers. You've got an NBA team. And we would kill someone for an NBA. We would go over every friggin' point, John, and you're not watching. So spoiled in the city of Philadelphia on your way to the Super Bowl as well. This is pretty fantastic for you.
Yeah, the Sixers season normally starts after the Eagles season's over, so we got a couple more weeks of that. But then pitchers and catchers.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, and obviously we'll talk anything Philly sports with you, but it doesn't get much bigger than this. In fact, it doesn't get any bigger than this. The Super Bowl taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. How are you feeling as a diehard Philly fan? Just as an aside, I enjoyed very much you unloading the bookmarks after you guys did advance. It's my favorite thing to do on Twitter as well. I really enjoyed that, but you got to be feeling pretty fired up about your squad.
Yeah, third Super Bowl since 2018, which is amazing considering the Eagles really traditionally haven't been a winning franchise, and they're amazing. This is a really, really good team. So it's a confident fan base. It's a confident team, and we head into this weekend. I'm feeling like they're going to win the Super Bowl, and I'm not even saying that as a fan that wants them to win the Super Bowl. I think they have the better team. So it's a weird time to be an Eagles fan. It is. It's a good time to be an Eagles fan.
It seems
just good.
Sorry, John. It seems so obvious now that Saquon Barkley was a difference maker and a great move, but. Speaking of unloading the bookmarks, there certainly was the take back then, like, you don't want to pay that much for a running back. You got other needs that you want to fill. Going back now, just kind of looking at the difference that he has made for the team this season, just kind of talk about his impact on the Eagles this year.
Well, I mean, he's been the team. If you look at how they finished the year last year, so you got to remember they started 10-1, and by the time the season was over, they got their ass kicked in the wild card round. They completely fell apart, and a lot of that was that their offense became very predictable. And Jalen Hurts isn't a type of a player that you want having to drop back and throw the ball all the time. So signing Saquon Barkley, I thought it was a genius move. I don't think it makes sense for a lot of teams to add a running back of that caliber. But it makes sense for the Eagles because they have a very good roster. And if you don't want your quarterback throwing the ball 40 or 45 times a game, then you better be able to run the football. And they got the best or the second best, I'll say the best running back in the NFL in Saquon Barkley. I mean, really, when you look at it, right? Like, what do you guys think of Gabe Davis, the wide receiver for Jacksonville, right?
Right.
It's essentially the same contract that they gave Saquon Barkley. So you think about that. Because he's a running back, no one wants to pay him, but they'll give a stiff like Gabe Davis the same amount of money in the same contract, more guaranteed money, actually. So it's worked out even better than I expected. I had high expectations. They've exceeded it. And if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, I believe it's going to be because Saquon Barkley has a huge game on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those guys where the Chiefs will be game planning like crazy to try to take him out. My dumbass went and bet the under on his yardage. His longest run was like 68.5 yards. I was like, well, he's not going to break one for that. It was like the third touch of the game. He's gone. I'm like, all right, well, that's out. He has been remarkable for you guys. And, I have a lot of friends that are Eagles fans. I coach with one of the dads, and he's like, I feel supremely confident. Man, for me, like, teams said this when they went up against Tom Brady's Patriots years ago, right? They're like, oh, no, we have a better team. We can do this. They had that thing. And I'm wondering, does Kansas City have that thing that it would make me so nervous as an Eagles fan going up against Kansas City? I'd be like, give me any other team to go up against other than the Chiefs. They just seem to have that ability to turn it on in the biggest moments.
Yeah, Woods, I think you're dead on. The one thing you worry about with Kansas City, they're winning ugly this year.
They are.
Right? So they're winning with field goals. They have an excellent defense. This isn't the Pat Mahomes throw for 50 touchdown offense. They're grinding it with Kareem Hunt, who's averaging less than 4 yards a carry, and they're playing great defense. If the Bills would have been able to pull out that game, I think the Eagles would have matched up very well against Buffalo. Kansas City wins games. They know how to win games. They know how to take advantage of one or two mistakes. 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, the Eagles really made one mistake. Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball. It was a scoop and score for Kansas City. That was the difference in the game. So the way Kansas City wins this game is if they're able to take advantage of a mistake that the Eagles present. So far in the offseason, they've turned the ball over 0 times. They've created 10 turnovers. So they're plus 10. Their defense is excellent. This is a much better team this time around. And I just think they're the better team. So if you're going to look at the team on paper, which we don't like to do, Eagles are the better team. They have Pat Mahomes, they have Andy Reid, and they know how to win these close games. So that's what's dangerous about the Chiefs.
Talking to Philly host Jon Marks here on 97.3 The Fan. Nick Sirianni, from the outside, he's not the kind of coach that feels like inspires a ton of confidence, but guess what? He's back in the Super Bowl again. What's the feeling of Philly fans about their coach right now? I mean, is he there so they absolutely love him, or is there still some question marks about him?
Is it different than it was 8 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Also,
would you be surprised that I might have called for his firing a couple times this year?
No, you're a Philly fan. I'm not surprised at all.
If they lose, I don't know if we're going to be throwing bouquets at him after the game. I'll say that. It's weird because he doesn't call plays. Last year the offense fell apart, so they brought in an offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, that has his own offense. So normally when you hire an offensive head coach, you're hiring him like a Sean McVay or guys like that. You're hiring him for his offensive acumen, right? That is not Nick Sirianni at all. But here's what he does. He motivates. The guys play hard for him. So if you're able to be the CEO type of head coach, which Mike Tomlin has done for 2 decades, which you have guys that are defensive head coaches that aren't calling plays, that are there to motivate and to manage the game. It's inarguable the success that Nick Sirianni has had as the Eagles head coach. So am I a little bit surprised when I hear him talk and I watch some of the antics that he has in games that he's been this successful? Yeah, of course he's more like a frat brother and a high school coach than he is an NFL head coach, but it's effective. They're in the Super Bowl and they're almost a pick 'em against the Chiefs. But if they lose, people will want him fired again.
That's correct. I mean, that's just the nature of sports, and let's be honest. It happens to Dave Roberts every year. The guy wins 100+ games, and they want his head, and it'll happen to him this year if they struggle in LA. It's just the nature of sports, John. And talk about your quarterback for a second, if you would, because the more I watch Jalen Hurts play, the more I like watching Jalen Hurts play. Again, not the super, he's not the Josh Allen power arm, the Patrick Mahomes shifty, type runner. He just gets the job done, and he does it in a way that's really quiet and just kind of serene, the way he carries himself.
Yeah, the one thing that you always worried about was could he be an effective enough passer to matter? Because the intangibles were off the charts, the leadership was off the charts. He's a very smart football player. And it's not often that you're running your offense through your running back in today's NFL. And I think you've seen a little bit more than that recently. Like if you look at Buffalo, Josh Allen had 127 passing yards in that divisional round. They're running the football very effectively. Kansas City, they're not Pat Mahomes throw the ball 70 times a game. They're running the ball even if it's not a great running attack and they play defense. So I think Jalen Hurts this year, and he should be applauded for this and not criticized like you see on all the debate shows, the hot takers that are out there. Because I'm sure he would love to say hey, look at me. I threw for 4,500 yards and I threw for 40 touchdowns. But that's not what's required on this team and in this offense. It's just not. He hasn't turned the ball over in forever. He's effective in the running game. They use him in the running game. The tush push. Who would have thought the offense would really be the tush push offense? That's what all you got to do. You get it to 3rd and short, they're almost impossible to stop. Yep. And they're winning games. And he is, for people that think that they're not winning games because of Jalen Hurts, they're winning games because of Jalen Hurts. They're not winning games in spite of Jalen Hurts. And when you think of a game manager, you think about a player that's not good enough, and that's why he's got to manage the game. No, Jalen Hurts actually is a very good quarterback who is now being a game manager because that's what's required of him on this team. So, yeah, like when I heard all these conversations and it's like, oh, well, the Eagles, are they good enough to win? Can they beat the Packers? Can they beat the Rams? Really what they were saying was just Jalen Hurts good enough to win because their defense is awesome. Their offensive line is awesome. They have 2 great wide receivers. They have friggin' Saquon Barkley. It was always about Jalen Hurts. And finally, I think people are coming around to saying he doesn't need to win the way that I want him to win, which is by throwing the ball a ton.
He's just got to win. He's just got to win. And I think it will go a long way. I mean, obviously winning a Super Bowl is huge, and this would be big.
John, how worried are Eagles fans, like Bills fans were and like Texans fans were, that the Chiefs are going to get all the calls? Or do you think, like I do, that there's been so much attention made of this that the Eagles are actually in a great spot because everyone's going to be so careful not to favor the Chiefs in the calls in this game?
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about it this morning because now that everybody's paying attention and Roger Goodell has to answer questions about it being fixed and everything else. By the way, if they were really fixing it for the Chiefs, why am I not betting the money line on every game that the Chiefs play if the league actually has a fix-in for the Chiefs? But the thing that bothers me with Mahomes, because Brady always got calls, Brady always lobbied for calls, he was always very annoying, is that Mahomes is baiting these players into hitting him. He's sliding late. He's slowing down as he's going out of bounds, and then he's Vlade Divac flopping it and flying everywhere to do it. So I agree with you. I think that the referees and the officials are going to be looking and being like, all right, we got to realize this guy's flopping out here, and we can't have a game decided by a bad call. Here's one thing the NFL does now that they didn't at least before is that they will allow replay to look at it and say, hey, nah, that's not good. And in the Super Bowl, the last thing that they want is a drive being extended by a Fugazi Patrick Mahomes roughing the passer call, because then everybody's going to be up in arms and pissed. So I do think that he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt on those calls. And if you've watched some of these playoff games, they happen at big spots. The Texans game happened on 3rd down that they would have had to punt the ball. So I do think it's going to affect the game, and I do think it favors the Eagles in that.
Yeah, I kind of do too, with all the spotlight being shown on it. Well, now that we have you, Jon Marks from Philly, talking Eagles in the Super Bowl, but you did mention pitchers and catchers report. How is the vibe in Philly on the Phillies offseason so far?
You go from being in the World Series, and they actually had a lead against the Astros when they were in the World Series, and at home, and they end up losing that, to losing in the NLCS, totally crumbling to the Diamondbacks the following year. And then last year losing. So they've taken a step down every year since they made the playoffs. I think it's an easy playoff team, but you're in the same division as the Mets that are spending and have talent. You're in the same division as the Braves, which if they don't totally lose their roster like they did last year, they're going to be right there in the 90s, probably with wins. So I think it's a playoff team, but it's a matter of where are they when they enter the playoffs. The year they went to the World Series, they got hot late. The year the Diamondbacks went to the World Series, they got hot late. And really over the last half of the season last year, the Phillies weren't great. They were not the same team they were in the beginning of the season. So, I mean, like they on paper aren't as good as they were when they ended the season. They've lost a couple guys in the bullpen. They've improved their starting pitching a little bit. So their starting pitching is going to be excellent. Their lineup's going to be boom or bust. If they hit home runs, they're scoring runs. If they don't hit home runs, they're probably going to struggle to score home runs. That's been their offense here for the last couple of years. So listen, I'll say this to you guys. I'll see you in the playoffs, and we'll see where the matchups are, and we'll see how the team's playing, because the Phillies have the second highest payroll in baseball. They spend a lot of money, so they better make the playoffs. But it's a little bit of a drag coming in the spring training because there hasn't been that signature signing that we've seen them have in previous years.
Oh, well, we can certainly relate with Elias Diaz being really our only major signing, and I use the term major loosely. We're actually coming out, John.
Yep.
We're coming out to watch the Padres take on your Phillies in July. Be our first trip. Now, if we walk around with you, are we more or less likely to get pummeled by Philly fans?
I can't see San Diego fans getting pummeled unless you're aggressively trying to interact and fight them.
Never.
We thought we might just wear Phillies jerseys.
Yeah, we just might wear Phillies gear out there based on some of the things.
No, you can wear Padres. You can just don't go to an Eagles game with an out of town jersey.
Yeah.
Never suggest.
Be fine in July. We should be okay.
You can go, Listen, you can go to the game wearing your Padres stuff.
All right. We'll follow up with some recommendations, and hopefully we'll run into you when we're there. Thank you, John.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, buddy.
Jon Marks, our favorite guy in Philly, host of the Philly podcast with us. I want to follow up on something he said about the Phillies that I've been kind of thinking about as well. We'll do it after a quick check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Kalshi. We still have a few problems out here, guys. Crash on westbound King Freeway at Bancroft. Everything's over to the right shoulder. Stalled car has been pushed over the right shoulder on North 805 at Imperial. And up ahead before Murray Ridge, accident involving several vehicles. That is all over to the right shoulder. Accident being cleared over the right shoulder, westbound 8, right before the 805. And a crash has cleared on the coastline, southbound 5, near Santa Fe Drive. Sports trading is now legal in all 50 states on the platform Kalshi. Kalshi is an exchange where you can trade on just about anything, including the winner of this weekend's big game. Go to Kalshi.com and use code RADIO to get $10 when you trade 100. That's KALSHI.com. Use code RADIO. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So as John mentioned, Phillies haven't had a particularly active offseason. I think their biggest additions are Max Kepler and Jesus Luzardo in their trade with the Marlins.
Forgot he went there.
He did, but he's coming off the injury, and who knows what he's got this season. But he made the point, they're playing in a division with the Mets and the Braves. And even though the schedule is more balanced than it used to be, you still have, that's 13 games against the Braves, 13 against the Mets. They have to face the Phillies. Meanwhile, the Padres, they got the 13 against the Dodgers, the 13 against the Diamondbacks. They're all, competing for that wild card. It's so important, the division you play in now. Oh, yeah. And, it opens the door for a team in the Central that doesn't have to play all those extra games against the Phillies or the Mets and the Braves or the Dodgers and the Padres and the Diamondbacks to maybe sneak in, into the postseason. That's
don't want to
an important factor.
But you don't want to unbalance the schedule again.
No. You don't. I mean, you want to balance it even more. It's
right,
more balanced than it used to be, but it's not perfectly balanced. You play 6 or 7 against the other divisions. You still play 13 against your own division. But what's so important for the Padres, and the point that I wanted to make, is that you're probably not going to win the season series against the Dodgers like you did last year. So figure that number is coming down. So where do you make up those wins?
Colorado.
The Rockies. Yes.
Colorado. There are biggest games of the year. They should have been last year.
This is the point that I'm making. Last year it ended up not mattering. You have to take care of business against the Rockies this
They have
year.
a 0% chance of making the playoffs. Zero.
You cannot stumble to a 6-7 record against the Rockies
You just
and make
can't.
the playoffs.
You got to throw your best. You have to play your best against those guys.
8-5 minimum, 9-4,
Oh, God.
10-3, 11-2 would be nice.
Disappointment.
You cannot have these annual struggles against the Rockies. You just can't. And to me, that's one of the huge differences, because you could actually add 5 or 6 wins by just playing better against the Rockies than you did last year, and that'll offset obviously some of the teams that you're going to probably not do as well against the Dodgers this year. I get it. It's not a crime, but you have to take care of the Rockies.
No question. And some of the other teams that you let come in here and push you around last year, some middling teams in the AL
they did dominate the Nationals. They dominated the Pirates late in the season.
Yep.
You still have to play well against those teams. You don't have to sweep the season series like they did, but yes, you're going to have to take advantage of the opportunities. You cannot have a season where you keep dropping series against the Angels, against the Rockies. You just can't do it if you want to have success in 2025.
Charlie Blackmon, as they're making the point, he is gone. He's still an advisor with the team, so he's still around. So until you get him to move across the country, I don't feel safe.
He's like vice president in charge of how to beat the Padres. I think
pretty
it's his
much
title or
the game
something.
plan. But no, I mean, you absolutely have to handle business against those teams.
And Orthodox Evan says Rockies didn't matter. They could have won the division. They could have. They could have won the division. Perhaps Game 5 would have been in San Diego instead of Los Angeles.
Remember that
had they
comeback?
taken care of? Yeah.
Remember the comeback?
I was on vacation, and I remember looking at my phone going, all right, they got this one. They're up, whatever, 9 to 4 or something in the 8th inning. And I go, got this one. And I found out hours later, they lost? They lost?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are painful losses in the end of the season. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
about
that sucked. I think it was on a Thursday. I think we had Schulte on Friday, so that was fun.
I think you're right.
All right, we'll come back. We got our biggest fan name to read. Kick off our final hour. Reindl Report coming up as well. Stay tuned for more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
my shorts.
Bart Simpson, quote.
No.
What?
I mean, yes, but
I need a
no.
new show.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta find this. Is you wonder
Breakfast
why
Club.
I'm ready to walk away.
Right.
That's why.
I was listening to the music, but yeah.
You weren't listening to the
No,
music.
I wasn't. I was thinking about the biggest fan contest and the name that I'm about to read. Yes. Also
What was
have-
that, Bender? Eat my shorts. Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe? It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
You want another week?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's it. You got
And that is one of the greatest movie songs
Oh, phenomenal.
of all time.
Phenomenal.
I was also thinking of a dilemma that I run into on a regular basis, and I can get to that in a second, but it is 9 o'clock, which it means it's time to announce today's biggest fan winner. If you hear your name called, you're going to have 10 minutes to call us back at 833-288-0973 to qualify for our grand prize drawing. 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in the Odyssey Suite at a Padres game later this season. Just register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan to have the possibility of hearing a name like this. Andrew Breyer from San Diego. Andrew, you are now on the clock. 10 minutes. 833-288-0973. Have two more names later today at 1 o'clock with Andy and Elston and 5:30 on the Gwynn and Chris program. So I saw this story yesterday, and I immediately thought of myself because, well, I can be somewhat self-centered that way. So the Eagles left tackle, Jordan Mailata, very good Australian guy who's become one of the best offensive linemen in the league, was doing his Super Bowl media night stuff and told a story how he was walking around New Orleans by the hotel, walked into this skincare store. It's called Lavalier.
Okay.
And the woman was very aggressive. The salesperson put him in the chair like, hey, try this. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? And he said, she kept me there for 30 minutes. I had no intent. I didn't want to buy anything, but he said, I also felt I didn't want to be rude, so I didn't get up and just walk out the door. And I thought, I am always so terrified of getting caught up in those situations.
But don't you just... I'm the one that gets caught in the situation.
Well, you do, but... So, like at Costco. You go to Costco. I go to Costco a lot. And they always have... First you walk in, there's the guy who's trying to sell you solar panels.
Yes.
And there's the guy who wants you to upgrade your heating and air system.
Then the guy with you switch your phone over. Hey, buddy, what do you use? I got Verizon.
That's right.
You need to try T-Mobile.
And I see them looking at me as I'm approaching.
I panic.
And I panic and I go, do I put my head down? Is that rude? What do I do? Do I walk? Just like turn around and walk the other direction?
You do a fake phone call every time.
Fake phone call.
I fake call Paulie 50 times a day.
I don't know why it gives me so much stress when I know they're just doing their job. And
it's their job.
They shouldn't be offended that I mean, do you ever lie like
all the time?
You have solar? I do have solar, but
I do too.
no, I definitely have solar. I'm good. Well, what's your bill? Maybe you need more. It's fine.
We're
bill's
good.
Fine.
I use my AirPods. I don't go anywhere. I actually left. I was late to go back to Bo's practice the other day. I had to go to the grocery store after I dropped him off for baseball practice in the morning. And I was going to go to the store, and I got halfway to the store and realized I didn't bring my AirPods. I turned around and went home and got my AirPods with me because I don't go into the store without them. Anytime you see me in public, you'll see me in my AirPods. Now, I bought you some AirPods. You can now use that. Yes.
I mean, is that going to stop them? You think that will stop them?
I just put my AirPods in and I walk through, and I'm listening to music, bobbing my head, whatever. I'm with you, though. I mean, you know me. I get caught up in that stuff all the time.
Yes, I will lie about my cell phone carrier at any. Oh yeah, no, I'm already with you. No, I'm already with you.
Yep.
Doesn't
matter.
Let me
run your name.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who you are. I'm with you already.
Thomas is like the good iPad kids you are, Woodsy. I'm telling you. Number one, I like listening to music and it relaxes me and calms me down. But it does keep me out of buying things or getting stopped to sign a petition for something, and I put my head down and go. Some people can say, hey, I'm not interested. I can't do it. I don't have it in me to say, no thanks, not interested. I feel like a D when I do it, so I don't do it. Diesel says he just goes with I'm good, bro, thanks. I can't even do that. I can't do that either. But I'm the one that I would get caught up out of all of us, sitting in a chair for 35 minutes and then walking out like, I spent $700 on concealer or something. Like, that would happen. It's happened to me all the time. I'm always caught in the web, always. I get roped into things, and I'm in. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing.
I also worry that sometimes I'm missing out on a deal or two.
Could
that
potentially.
I should be. And I just wish there was a way to know.
Well, there's like you go to a Padre game sometimes, and they're there to sell you like, hey, sign up for this and you get a week's vacation.
Timeshare. I think Adam did one of those.
He did.
You get a free weekend vacation, but you have to sit for the 3-hour
to the conference
timeshare presentation.
And he just sits there and wears it.
And he does.
So he's not, I don't know where he is, but if he was here, here's what I would ask him. So you go to Vegas.
Yeah.
And you know you're going to do this. And let's call it what it is. It's just, you're scamming them. Yes?
Right.
You have no intention. So you're...
I mean, it's a game. It
is a game.
They're scamming you or you're scamming them. One of you is going to emerge victorious.
So if you've made up your mind
yeah.
that we're going to Vegas and I have a plan, number one, it's like going to a concert without a ticket. In my mind, something bad would happen. They'd be like,
here he comes.
Here he comes. Come in here, Kluger. So when you went to Vegas last and you did that timeshare bit, and you stayed at a hotel, and you got...
I've done this multiple times,
Multiple
by the way.
times.
Yeah.
All right, so... Like,
Ben knows what I'm all about.
The way I look at Adam...
I've never had the courage to actually do it, though.
I look at Adam right now, and I think, in my mind, it's wrong, but I think, you're a criminal. Like, that's criminal behavior in my head. When you...
Totally legit.
So you drive to Vegas with your entire family,
Yeah,
yes?
we get like 4 nights.
Free.
Yeah.
Okay, so where does your family... What do they do while you're sitting in this conference?
The whole family goes.
The whole...
I got my kids running around. The crazy thing is
How
like,
long is it?
2 hours, maybe?
Oh,
The crazy thing is
God.
The people who are giving the spiel to try and get you to sign up, they act as if they've never encountered anybody who has literally no intention whatsoever to do it, and they're just there for the free trip. That's us. We're just like, okay. And they're like, sure, you interested? Nope. They're like, really? Why not? Did you not just hear the speech I gave you? I'm like, no, we're just here for the free trip.
I would walk out of there and I would have signed up for 6 months of a timeshare.
So I always assume that if I'm one of those people, that everybody is there just for the free trip.
Right.
But
That's what I would think.
But
I was just like, do we really have to go through this? Like, we're just here for the free. Can I just skip this? Like, no, you have to. I'm like, shall I just sit there?
But because of human nature, when you sit there for the presentation, that enough people are weak-willed that they don't stick with it and eventually sign up for the timeshare. And if they can just convince, I don't know, 1 out of every 10 people
rube, like me,
to actually sign up for the timeshare, then they win. It's worth them giving away all the free vacations.
You can't even let me out in public.
Vacations for life.
You can't let me out in public because I will get. If I made Hannah do that.
I mean, I've never had a timeshare, but we run enough commercials for the get out of your time. Remember that, Wesley Oakland, get out of your timeshare guy. I'm scared to death of timeshare
right now. Call me. I'll get you out of it.
The new thing they're doing is it's not just one property. It's not like a timeshare where you're just like, this is my unit and I come here every year. They have properties all over the world and you build up points. You're like, I want to go to Thailand or I want to go to Australia, whatever. And it's like they have all these different properties. And it's like, and they call it vacations for the rest of your life.
So feasibly, could you and your family fly to Australia and stay for a week for free if you sat through one of their spiels?
That's a good question. I don't know if they all. I'm
all right,
sure
what's the farthest you'd go? Vegas? Is that as far like Arizona? You're not going anywhere. You're not going to risk it like.
I don't know. Like
we're going to Seattle.
I've never been to Lake Tahoe. If there was something in Lake Tahoe, like you can stay here for 4 nights.
Yeah. I got an idea. Why'd you just rent an Airbnb? Just go.
Then you have to pay your own money.
We don't all make Stephen Woods money.
So, and the Guzeneder makes a good point because he said he did it at Lawrence Welk Village and he was planning on walking out, but his wife then really wanted it. You have to trust your spouse as well that they're not going to get convinced while you're sitting there and you go, no, we have this whole plan. We're not signing up for the timeshare. I know, but it sounds so good, doesn't it?
We can go to Sedona for a month.
We can swing this. This will be our annual vacation spot now.
I feel like you should be in prison for this. I really do. I'm firm on this. I feel like you should be in jail. I feel like that's
not breaking any rules.
They know what they signed up for. I feel like it's a criminal behavior.
It's a great deal. 4 nights free.
I will say this. I'm glad this didn't exist when I was a kid because it's 1,000% something my dad would do. All right, load it up. We're off to Destin, Florida. Dad, why can't we check in the hotel? Well, we have to sit in this conference for 3 hours first.
You check in. You do it on like the third or fourth day.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you had to
we
do
had
it
our
before
whole
they
vacation, and they were just like, all right, let's go sit in this
I
conference.
thought you had to, like, your kids are waiting in the car.
But if you don't,
you
show up
schedule
for,
it like an appointment.
if you don't show up for the timeshare presentation,
Correct.
then they charge you at the end for your trip. So you have to go to
Schedule it from like 9 to 11 a.m. on the third day.
That's brilliant.
Get up, go to it.
I don't have the stones for it. I just don't have it.
It must feel like detention, right? That everyone shuffles in, heads down, punished on a Saturday morning for 2 hours.
AEP, alternate
It's the
education
Breakfast Club.
program.
It's the Breakfast Club for timeshare.
Just sitting there like,
presentations.
I don't want to do this.
Ben, let me know if you want the contact.
I couldn't do it. It'd be a great bit. It'd be a great bit to do sometime.
Why would
I wonder if we could find a place like this in Peoria.
In Peoria,
for
to stay at spring training.
Why would I sit through a 2-hour presentation when all I have to do is listen for 1 hour a day on the Odyssey app to
there we
win
go.
the ultimate Vegas trip in our Slam Dunk in Vegas national contest? Just download the Odyssey app, listen for 1 hour to 97.3 The Fan, and earn a daily entry into a national contest. Not only are travel and accommodations covered for a winner and 3 guests to Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's premium sports viewing destination, but you also get $20,000 cash to watch the biggest March Hoops party at Stadium Swim. They don't give you $20,000 cash as well as your free vacation when you show up for a timeshare presentation.
I still just can't get my head around it. It just, for me, the risk, I would just feel like...
There really is no risk unless you don't trust yourself.
Well, I mean, again, like, what if you got there and they're like, no, dude, you're not going to scam us out of a vacation. You're going to pay for something. You know what I mean? It's, again, I liken it to the fact of driving all the way up to L.A. to go to a concert, hoping you can get one from a scalper, feeling like your odds are pretty good. They're pretty good. You can find one. But what if you don't?
Well, they're not. But they're not paying. They're not paying you to buy the timeshare. They're just paying you to sit through the presentation. That's the only thing you're obligated to do. You have fulfilled your obligation.
I would feel
by doing that.
I'd feel like such a turd. And he actually just comes out and says, "We're not interested. I'm just here for the free vacation." That is a different level of I don't have it. You have it, Paul? You couldn't do it?
No, absolutely not.
I'm mortified, like, to know him I'm mortified that I know somebody that does that. That's fantastic. Well, listen, it's good content. I'll tell you that. That is a different one altogether. So what happened with this guy? He got 35 minutes in the chair and walked out.
Walked out and had a story for his Super Bowl media day say.
Man,
that's about it. He's a really nice guy, apparently. You know, he's an Aussie. I mean, they tend to
they're nice.
Tend to be fairly friendly.
Fair
so.
enough.
Anyway, our good friend Adam Klug, because he is, frugal about his vacations, will likely have more to bequeath to his future generations, and he can do it by going to trustandwill.com and setting up an easy, simple online trust or will to lay out what you want to happen in the case of your untimely demise.
Yeah, make sure you get that trust, too, to keep your family out of probate court. It's lengthy. It's costly. Even with a will, probate is unavoidable. So only a trust can help you bypass it entirely. That's something that you want to make sure you got locked down. And look, 60% of families experience conflict when dividing assets after someone dies without a clear will or trust. You can actually spell it out. Ben and I did it over the break. Took about 20 minutes. Such a load off, man, to be able to do this and knock it out.
Yeah, not have to spend a bunch of time in a lawyer's office. Yep. I really had no idea it would be as simple as it was.
Same.
If you've been putting it off, make the just go to the website. Go to trustandwill.com. When you fill out the questionnaire, use the code San Diego, all one word, get 10% off and free shipping of your legal documents at checkout by going to trustandwill.com. That's trustandwill.com.
Text from one of my buddies I used to play ball with, my buddy Stevie. Says, bro, I've sat through so many timeshare presentations to get free stuff. Wedding rings, pots and pans,
wedding rings,
free trips. And I said, I'm dead, dude. He goes, I topped this idea a few weeks ago, signed up to be a secret shopper to get free golf rounds here in San Diego. They pay me to go be a secret shopper and pay for my rounds. He has taken this to the next level entirely.
Remember dealing with secret shoppers at various jobs back in the day?
Secret shopper, you're like a narc, right?
Yeah, kind of. Like when I worked at Woodstock's Pizza in college.
They'd have somebody come in.
They would kind of train you, like, you had the whole, if they order a large, you have to ask, like, oh, would you like to upgrade to an extra large for only $2 more?
Right.
Or something like that. And there were tricks, like a secret shopper would always order a large, and they would wait, because they were going to be asked at the end in their survey, were you asked to upgrade?
Ah.
Were you offered this? Were you offered that?
And then if you don't, it comes back poorly on you because some narc just came in.
Some companies hire their own to test their employees.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Others, like restaurants, will have like a critic who comes in from out of, you don't know, the unknown eater.
The unknown.
Was
Ours
a
were
famous
definitely-
TV restaurant critic in town.
Ours were definitely the former. It was kind of like a store. The store put it on,
right,
or at least participated in the service to get feedback on how their employees were doing. I don't know how much those people got paid, but they got a free meal out of it. I know that.
Dominic says, I got secret shopped once. Dude had a button camera even. Luckily, I passed.
Oh.
Maybe that's why I try to answer everyone's DMs all the time. I feel like I'm being secret shopped.
On social media. Are you doing it right?
Some listeners like, well, he didn't get back to me, so, man.
I still can't get quite over a free wedding ring for sitting through.
Yeah, I wonder if his wife knows.
It's very romantic. Where'd you get
where'd I get this?
wedding rings?
At the Hilton. Did a 2-hour seminar on it.
She takes another look at it. She goes, oh, yeah, I can tell.
Yeah. That is, he is a gem. He's also the one, this is no joke. He told me this a couple of years ago that he does this. Every June, he goes to, a hardware store and buys an air conditioning unit for his house. Oh, no. And then he takes it back in September, October and returns it. Keeps the receipt. Uses it for the summer.
That's stealing.
That's thievery.
That's probably inappropriate.
I'm amazed he ever actually paid me fees for the seasons we played. My God, that's incredible. It's the next level.
You start nickel and diming. You're like, well, I only played 2 innings.
Yeah. I played 2 innings in this game, so I'm going to give you $14. That's nuts.
How was your training session yesterday?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh.
After the show,
brutal.
We both go to our trainers on Tuesdays.
Brutal. Just brutal. Terrible. All the things I hate. Lunges, push-ups, rowing machine, all of it. It was like, hey, what are your least favorite
stick
things?
with it?
Yeah, of course. Going back tomorrow.
So my colleague at Channel 10, Wale, he was doing some live field anchoring yesterday, and it's like Black History Month or whatever it is, and he was at a black-owned business. It was a gym, so every time they would come to him, he was doing another exercise, and he kind of showed off a little bit. Wale's in his 30s. He's well built but every time he'd come back, it would be like 48, 49. We know you're starting at 48 there. You didn't just do 1, 2, 3. They said, hey, we're coming to you in 3, 2, 1, 48.
I'll be honest.
49.
I got like 3 hours of sleep the night before. It was a slog to walk in the door. Wasn't my best, but I was proud of myself for showing up. He's really nice, man. He'll send me like an encouraging text after, which I really appreciate. Like, hey, man, you walked in the door today. That's the first step. And that makes me feel good because it wasn't my best. I was doubled over at one point. My shirt was soaked with sweat. He kicks my ass up and down the thing. And now yesterday was really cold. It was cold outside, so when I walked in, there were no dudes with their shirts off. So I felt a little bit better,
a little more comfortable,
a little more.
Yeah.
It's daunting when you see it.
A couple minutes here before our Reindl Report. A little more prospect talk for you. Kylie McDaniel at ESPN did his top 10 prospects for each team. Here's what he had for the Padres going into the season. Leo Dallas DeVries, number 1. Ethan Salas, number 2. Then Cash Mayfield, number 3 left-handed pitcher, was a top draft pick last year, I believe. Humberto Cruz, right-handed pitcher, number 4. Boston Bateman, another draft pick, number 5 left-handed pitcher. Cale Fountain, first base. I've been seeing some videos lately of Cale Fountain.
Bro, me too. I saw some yesterday.
They say like 80 on the scouting scale. That's as good as you get for power. Guy has raw power. Obviously, he's young.
He's
and
19, isn't he?
Yeah. Then Cobb Hightower, who's another infielder who they drafted at number 7. Isaiah Lowe, number 8, right-handed pitcher. I got to say, I don't know anything about Isaiah Lowe. Or David Coronel, shortstop at number 9. And then Kavaris Tears, center field, number 10.
That was my guy with the raw. What was the quote? It was like
raw, light tower power.
Light tower, ungodly power.
But I bring it up because Kylie McDaniel has followed up this morning with his bold predictions for the prospects, and the Padres do factor in on a couple of these, including projecting next year's top 10. And in next year's top 10, he has Leo DeVries at number 3 and Ethan Salas at number 9. So he's kind of thinking after a bit of a down season that DeVries or that Salas can bounce back into the top 10, and DeVries is going to continue what's kind of been a pretty steady climb for him in the minor leagues toward the top prospect list. He also had some picks of guys outside the top 100 that he thinks are going to make some noise this year, and he has 2 Padres there, Cash Mayfield and Humberto Cruz, as 2 guys that he thinks will pop in to the top 100 this year.
Well, we talked about it too. You know, you see where the Padres are ranked, and on Keith Law, 25th, this and that. You got to give it a few months, and I think based on some of the guys that they've taken, that number is going to climb, and these prospects will become more intriguing for the Padres' future or for some other team's future potentially.
Now, will it happen fast enough? If the Padres are in contention and A.J. Preller needs to make some moves at the trade deadline, will these prospects be intriguing enough that he'll already have the capital for this year, or is the cupboard going to be somewhat bare for A.J. all year long? Because that'll make a difference in how aggressive they can be at the trade deadline if they do want to improve. Obviously, you don't want to trade any of your stars that are helping you right now, so they're going to look to the minors for guys like, who can we deal? Is there going to be anyone there besides Salas and DeVries in July if you need to make some deals?
Yeah, I mean,
according to Kylie McDaniel, the answer may be yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of a million questions, as far as what AJ can actually do right now as it stands, and then what he's going to be able to do in July. 2 totally different answers, and dependent on how some of these guys perform.
So, yeah, we'll keep an eye kind of as the season goes on and, what the national perspective is for some of these Padres in the minor leagues. And not because any of them are expected to help the team this year. That seems unlikely because they're all so, low in the minor leagues. Maybe you could see a Salas near the end of the year if he has a really good season. But he's even expected to start at high single A or double A at the most. Going to have a really good year to jump all the way to the big leagues. So, none of these guys are likely going to be in San Diego anytime soon, but they could help this year's team by having good years and becoming trade candidates at the deadline.
Our pal Kevin Charity from Mad Friars tweeted yesterday, the Storm baseball team should be a lot of fun, assuming you'll see Fountain plus Bateman, Mayfield, Tears, and Hightower in Riverside County, possibly on the opening day roster for the Lake Elsinore Storm. Yeah, big names, high draft picks, guys that are, could be a potential part of our future or somebody else's. But yeah, probably the most interesting team they've had in a while.
Yeah, until DeVries got there, they'd kind of been like, there's not a lot of intrigue in Lake Elsinore, but this will be kind of a fun one to maybe make a trip up to the Diamond this season. All right, Paulie's got his Reindl Report final segment. Anything to tease here, Paulie?
What do we have to tease today? We were just talking about MLB The Show the other day, and they had some announcements that I think everybody's going to be excited about.
Excellent.
All right, we will take a time out first, though.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE000466.
Tell you about our place for cards in San Diego at 7 Mile Casino. Now, this is a card room, so if you're looking for slot machines, you'll have to go somewhere else. But if you like playing California-style blackjack, Texas Hold'em poker, Pai Gow, or Baccarat, 7 Mile Casino is the place to do it.
Indeed. Place of California-style blackjack, while also eating the best Kung Pao chicken that you will find. The menu there is spectacular. We've had breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 7 Mile. It's a great vibe. Got a great patio. It's airy. It's bright. You don't feel like you're doing anything wrong when you walk in there, as you have at some other seedier
I was talking
type
about
places.
that earlier. I don't know if it's the windows or what it is, but it definitely feels like an upscale room. It's also friendly, and I don't know if that's partly just because the atmosphere just makes everyone feel friendly, but it's not a place where people are just like hanging their heads and chips and stuff. It's an engaging, it's like a social atmosphere when you're at 7 Mile Casino.
Also a smoke-free environment too, so you don't get that dingy feeling when you walk in there like you do in Vegas or other casinos sometimes. So check it out for yourselves. Obviously, the proximity to downtown is spectacular, just 7 minutes away.
Take advantage of the 35% off deal. If you're a player at a table and you want to order from Sammy's at 7 Mile, get 35% off while you're there as well. A lot of reasons to check it out. And again, so close, so easy to get to. It's 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from downtown. Continuing our Super Bowl preview tomorrow. Had Jon Marks from Philly on today. Mick Schaefer from Kansas City,
the GOAT,
will join us tomorrow.
I'll make a prediction.
Go ahead.
I'm going to ask, or you're going to ask, about the ref thing with Mick Schaefer, and he's going to absolutely flip his wig. That's my guess. Prediction. Bold prediction.
Jon Marks agreed with me that
He
this
did.
actually favors the Eagles. The whole blow up and controversy, just human nature, is going to, as he agreed, make the refs a little more gun shy to throw a flag when Patrick Mahomes is like a bang bang play. Was it late? Was it not? I know if I was a referee, my instinct would be I don't want to be the one who throws another bad flag that helps Patrick Mahomes, so I might keep it in my pocket. And I think that favors the Eagles.
Yeah, it's such a tough gig, right? And they kept highlighting like some holding calls on the Chiefs that went uncalled, and it's the Super Bowl. Like there is that aspect of, man, let these guys play and let's duke it out on the field, but there's also that need and desire for a ref, Ben, to want to be perfect, to get every call right. And I don't think you can do that in a Super Bowl. I just don't. There needs to be that element. You see it in the NCAA tournament a lot too. Oh, they're just letting these kids play today, and it's like, ugh. And then they get real tight with 2 minutes left or something. You're like, well, stay consistent, man. It's the most thankless job of all time. I didn't tell you guys this. I got asked to speak, and I spoke. It was the day we got back from fantasy camp. One of our umpires from the MSBL asked me to come out and speak to their umpire training school. Me, the man who rips umpires more than anyone on this show.
To speak in what? Like offer your wisdom?
Yes. He asked me to be a guest speaker, and it was little kids that were umpiring Little League, and then older people, guys for high school, then adult ball umpires. They actually run a clinic. I love that too because Billy takes it really seriously, and they're trying.
Were they all wearing their
Yes.
umpire gear?
Yeah, I came in the middle of drills.
I need to see a picture of this.
I didn't take one, but I had to do like a speech, and they had other little kids running, and they get in position and make the call. Ow, it was cool. But they asked me, of all people, to come in and speak to the umpires, and I did tell them. I said, as far as like what we do, I said we only get one game a week. We get one, so people are going to get a little fired up, take it a little too seriously. My days of yelling at umpires, at least like in person, those are gone. Paulie knows. He played with me I haven't said a word, not one word. haven't gotten upset. It's just kind of fruitless. They don't change their minds really. So it's just kind of a waste of time. But it was cool, man. And knowing the work that they were putting in to make these, especially you get a 12-year-old kid out there calling Pony League games. He's got some dad that's 4 wines deep, yelling at him. It's just not good, man. So I told them, hey, don't worry about the parents. They're the worst part of youth sports.
I had played with the idea of being an umpire at some point.
I could see it so easily.
Ben would change his mind, though. I think he'd get yelled at.
Well,
me in his face.
Maybe
you are right.
And I don't know if this would work or not, but I would certainly recognize someone who would, manager comes out and yells at me. You blew that call, and my first instinct would be, given the odds, you're probably right. I probably did. So I'll try to get the next one right. I'm very sorry.
That's not how it works.
But umpires must know that they make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
As everybody does.
Well,
They're
I think
human.
The good umpires are the ones that say, "Hey, you're right. I might have blown that one, man." And it's very disarming. There's no, you damn right you did.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's the guy that, and I told these guys too. I said the only umpires I've ever had a problem really with on any level, from Little League on to Adult League to the major leagues, the only ones that I ever come in here and complain about, you guys know this, the combative ones, the ones that are looking, that rip the mask off, that follow a player, get in their face, stare at them, point their finger. That's like, bro, you're looking for a fight. You have a job to do. It's not to fight Manny Machado. It's not. No one came here to watch you. Nobody knows your name, and that's okay. The guys with no ego that just say, yeah, I probably did. I might have blown that one. I got you, though.
Then maybe I could have done that job.
What was that?
I think you
I don't
would
like
have.
getting yelled at. I really don't like getting yelled at.
What was that quote from the mic'd up? I'm assuming it was Aaron Boone. Our asses are in the jackpot or something.
Yeah, something about
like, hey, he was like, I know, I hear you, but our asses are in the
jackpot. Yeah.
Still don't know what he meant by
I don't
that,
either.
But it sounded like he was admitting, like, I know, all right, we screwed it up.
Yeah.
But what do you want us to do
Yep.
now?
No, I like the ones that say, that may have been off. That's fine. I'll get you back or something, But yeah, it was kind of a trip.
Makeup calls are even worse. Though.
Your makeup calls are terrible.
That you admitted a
yeah, it's
mistake.
admitted
and
you were wrong.
2 mistakes.
I know. 2 wrongs don't make a right. Unless you're the person that benefited from the first one. And then you're very happy. Yeah, like Doug Eddings, man. Always trying to fight somebody out there. Always. Always what? What'd you say? The rabbit ears, the ripping of the you wouldn't be a rabbit-eared umpire. We'd be wearing you out from the dugout, and you'd be like, all right, that's enough.
Yeah, no, I'd be fine on that. But I would worry. Like, I'd know, I think I missed that last one. Like, then I'd feel guilty.
Yeah.
And I'd want to
make it up.
Which you can't with the next one, which you can't do either. Yeah, I know I missed that last one. I should really give the other team a bad call just to even things out.
Can't
but
do
you
that.
can't really do that either.
You can't. You just got to try to make the right call every time.
All right, let's get last check of traffic here, and then we'll wrap things up with Paulie's Reindl Report next here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a few problems wrapping up our morning drive. One of them is a crash southbound side of the 5 coastline right before Birmingham. It's over the right shoulder. Also westbound 52 before the 805 collision involving a couple vehicles, mostly over the right shoulder. Westbound 80 before Taylor Street, there is a collision involving a couple vehicles. That's over the right shoulder. The Caltrans crew's got the westbound Washington Street off-ramp of South 163 closed for some cleanup. So if you normally take that, you may have to consider either taking the University 6th Avenue exit or possibly just going eastbound on the Washington exit off South 163 and kind of winding your way to Hillcrest that way. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Gentlemen, I'm sure you saw this story kind of been all over the place for the last couple of weeks. But what do you guys make about JD Martinez? Still a professional baseball player, wants to continue his professional baseball career, but he's already
would fit in great here.
Can we afford him? I don't know.
I don't know.
What's he gonna command? I don't know. We got Elias Diaz though.
That is true. And Martin Maldonado.
But did you see JD Martinez? He's already got plans for life after baseball, and I'm still fascinated, with how fast the phenomenon and the fad of pickleball has become.
That's what he's going to do.
JD Martinez wants to become a professional pickleball player.
Professional pickleball. It's hard to say.
Say that 10 times.
Professional
pickleball player. Professional pickleball player.
And not for all. I guess it's not hard for all of us.
He's already signed a contract.
With the
JOOLA, Jula, the paddleboard or
they make the
paddle
paddles
sport equipment manufacturer, and he's already got a contract with them. He's been training with.
So he already
all-star
plays pickleball. He's not like going, and I'm going to take up the sport and then become a professional.
What he's doing is smart because he's leaving one, but he's already laying the groundwork for the next career. Slide right into it.
His quote was, "I see pickleball as a sport I'll be involved in for the long run, and Jula's commitment to the sport and my personal growth in the game makes this partnership even more special."
It's funny, man, because when it first came out, I'm like, oh, this is a sport for olds.
No.
And it's not. Carlos Quentin, our beloved Carlos Quentin, friend of the program. I'd like to talk to Carlos at some point. I love that guy. He is like an elite pickleball player. And it's not just for like old men that don't want to play big tennis.
But professional pickleball, I mean, there has to be some sort of... I mean, obviously there's athletic ability.
Yeah.
can he be a top-level professional player, or do you have to kind of be in your 20s, 30s like you would in another sport?
I don't know. I mean, it
to
seems
be a top-level player.
The court isn't huge. I played it at my mother-in-law's. I played it. It's fun. I actually had a blast playing it. The scorekeeping is like cricket. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. We're complicating things we don't need to complicate. I could not understand it.
I have no idea how hard it is to play pickleball.
It's fun.
I haven't played it since elementary school in PE or something.
JH619 said, it's not just for old men and prisoners anymore. That should be the professional pickleball's motto.
You see, professional athletes, they're freaks. The guys that they're so naturally gifted at, it seems like anything.
Hand-eye, though,
I saw Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a golf ball last week.
Oh, I saw that too.
Hit it 500 yards.
Crushed it.
And a bat flip or
these
a club
guys,
flip.
They can just pick up sports so quickly. They're so talented. I imagine a guy in his late 30s who has that hand-eye coordination, the athletic build. He'll be fine, right?
He's huge, too. He takes up a lot of space on the court.
There will be a pickleball-themed Super Bowl ad on Sunday.
Oh, good.
Starring, give it away.
Let me guess, Peyton Manning?
Willem Dafoe and Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, I like that. I love Willem Dafoe.
Look for that one. Didn't have that on your pickleball bingo card.
Smoke weed.
I think it's from Michelob Ultra.
Smoke weed. Subtle in the chat. It says pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America.
Yeah.
And they've already done the thing where they're like, hey, people like this. Let's make a professional league.
Yeah, and investors have already paid a lot of money. I think one of the franchises sold last week for like $10 million.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, we'll move on.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I'll give it that. More fun than golf, the way I've been playing lately.
We were talking about MLB The Show recently, probably about the cover. Yesterday, they had the trailer for MLB The Show 25. Woodsy, you said this is maybe your favorite video game to play.
Yep.
And they got a lot of features that everybody's very excited about. First of all, Road to the Show. Did you ever play that mode?
I did. I built myself. 6'1".
Yeah.
195-pound.
You'll get a couple of plays
baseman.
defensively, and it just sims.
195 pounds.
195 pound.
It just sims to your
aspirational.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Road to the Show. It's a little bit different. You used to start out as a high school prospect, and you do like a combine quickly, and then kind of get right
college,
into the
major leagues, whatever.
Well, no college until now.
Oh.
They have added, you will actually start in high school. You'll play a couple of high school baseball games, and then you will play a few college games in your amateur years of your career. Nice. Then you get drafted. And while you're playing in high school and college baseball, you will be playing with aluminum bats in the baseball game. They've added the ping. Bing. Yeah, they've added all the sound effects. A lot of people are excited about that. They're excited about some of the control that you have over your player. Like you can, if you're diving, stealing second base and you're diving, you can avoid
Swim
the tag. Robbing home runs has been totally enhanced. And then they also added couple of names to the historical teams. You can play with Manny Ramirez and Roger Clemens, who have never been in the show before. I don't know if it's a licensing thing. I'm assuming that would be the case.
When you're doing the Road to the Show, is there like cut scenes in which you get like promoted, like the manager calls you and
I don't know
you're moving up to AAA?
I don't know if there's scenes, but it's like something flashes on the screen, like you've been promoted or something. It's been a long time.
It's been a while. I know in like NBA 2K they have cut scenes where it's like a phone pops up on the screen. It's your agent. How do you want to handle this?
How do you want to handle this? B, C, or D or whatever.
The new Madden, or not Madden, but the new NCAA game, you'd get a text and it's like, hey, got a party tonight. You guys want to come? And it's like, do you want to risk the downfall, like what that could do negatively to your training that week? Or do you want to say, hey, I got to study or I got to be in the gym? And you can, you pay the consequences.
I'm going to the party.
Even the digital
party.
Fake video game
I'm
party.
more likely to go to a digital party than a real party these days. I'll tell you that right now.
So MLB The Show, the trailer looks amazing. And
and on the chat, they says they bring you into the office now. Do they play the prank on you? Like, we're kind of disappointed with it. Just kidding. You're going up to the big leagues.
Yeah. So you never did like the Road to the Show or anything like that? No? Never was into the baseball game?
Nope.
It's when I fly to England in July, I'm gonna play like 3 years worth on the plane on the Nintendo Switch that you bought.
Welcome.
There you go. All right, and then finally, pretty light on all of the weird and goofy stories that we do here, but I did find, thanks to our friends at the Old Prep Service, a list of the most annoying phrases of the past year. And I would agree with just about every single one of them.
They have like what the kids have been saying. Are those on there?
Similar, yeah.
Because it's driving us insane at home.
Number 1 is I was today years old. Blank. ...
I hate it. I was today years old when I found out.
Yeah. Saying this instead of I agree, like this.
This.
Hate it.
However,
I love that for you.
That doesn't bother me so much. I love that for you.
No.
I love that for you.
I love that for you has a totally different context than I love that for you. I love that for you is kind of a genuine, like, supporting of a friend. I love that for you is like, I wouldn't do that, but go ahead, be my guest.
It's a great fit for you.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else.
That hat looks good on you, though.
Ugly. You get a bowl, free bowl of
Free
soup.
bowl of
with
soup.
that?
That
Looks good on you, though.
Tell me you blank without telling me that
God,
you
it's
blank.
like the twit. It's like the Twitter. These are all just tropes on Twitter. Tell me you've never watched the Browns play without telling me. It makes me want to die. All right.
What else do we got? Not all heroes wear capes.
Oh my God.
There's no such thing as a stupid question. Of course, there's stupid questions.
Yeah.
I did a thing, or all of the things.
These are all making me shut down internally. I
Says,
did a thing. You got a new dog.
Did a thing.
You see, you could probably ring the bell on this one, Paulie, if you want to. But you see,
I'll just go ahead and
just ring
pre-ring it.
Pre-ring it.
The misogyny bell.
Ladies, when they get a haircut, will like to post, I did a thing. Oh, you got a haircut. What's the need of showing everyone your haircut?
It's a bold new style.
But usually it's not.
Yeah.
I did a thing. Oh, you bangs now. All right. I don't know. I'm just curious.
Gaslighting is on the list, mostly because of people using it incorrectly.
Yeah. I just really learned what it means.
Living my best life.
Living my best life.
I'm in my blank era. That'll bother me if it sticks around. It made sense culturally with like the Taylor Swift era, I think, right? I don't know. Saying thanks for coming to my TED Talk after a very basic
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
few sentences and something.
I've been guilty of that one once or twice on Twitter.
Ick.
The ick doesn't bother me. Oh, it gives me the ick. I like it.
Adulting.
Adulting's terrible.
Lives rent-free in my head. And
Dodger fans.
Choose to believe us if you want or not. This wasn't planned. Ben literally said one that was on this list about 4 minutes ago.
Hold on.
Blank was not on my bingo card.
On my bingo card. He's been saying it for years. We have a flub of him saying bingo card. And I said, what is a bingo card?
Bingo card.
Jake says the TED Talk line is actually good. It's not. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Well, it says after the most basic, unoriginal couple of sentences about their opinion of
Their
something.
opinion, right.
But I do think that is a way to acknowledge. I know that I'm not come up with anything earth-shattering here. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Don't start saying it. Please don't start weaving this in.
I just wanted to get that off my chest. I know it's not changing any opinions. Like TED Talks don't either. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
A real TED Talk might change my opinion about something.
That's exactly right.
Have you ever been to a real TED Talk?
Yeah, I was here when you gave yours on breakfast.
I watched.
I made you do one on breakfast.
You go to the conference and
I watched one virtually.
Pay for it. I went to one once.
How was it? What was
good.
it on?
It was our friend Abby did it. I'll tell you about it tomorrow on the show.
I can't wait.
All right, that's it. Annie and Elston are coming up next.
I didn't have that on my bingo card for tomorrow.
Thanks for sitting with us for another 5 hours. 4 hours. I was today years old when the show ended. Thanks, Paulie. Thanks, Woods. We're out. Bye.